What's good, family? How's everybody doing today? Sully, yes, you were first. I saw that. Sully, I have timestamps here, but welcome. Cody Val, I'm sorry that you weren't first, but you were very close to first. You were the first person, Cody Val, to say something when the stream actually started. So you do get you get some props for that for sure. But Sully sent his first message at 6:31 for sure. So he was speaking into the void a little bit earlier, but it's good to see everybody. What's up, Cody Val? It's Mainzy. Hi, what's up, Shop Man? How you doing? Anyone want to trade some code review? Yeah, y'all should, people should trade some code, a little bit of code review, it's pretty powerful, pretty helpful. What's up, Penguin Airlines? Good to see you. Ain't no profit. Meow. Welcome tonight. Good to see you. Let's see. Yep, Kids Legend. You saw it too. What's up, Aban? How you doing today? Hope everyone had a great weekend. Crystallized Code. I hope none of you lost any money on the Super Bowl. A lot of people lost money on Super Bowl. Not me. I don't bet on things like that. Let's see. Who else we got? Lord Azazel. Good to see you. Coffee. Welcome. Burning JC. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. How you doing today? Hope you had a happy Monday. Oh, it's a sharp look I have. Oh, okay, all right. Feeling myself a little bit. Hey, I should put on my fancy watch or something. I just, Old Navy. Sometimes you got to take it back to the basics, and Old Navy. And my hair's looking a mess. I got my roots are dry. I guess is that what people say about the hair? My roots. That people always say that. My ends, they're splitting. And so, cover it up. All you gotta do is cover it up, and you look decent. If you just, it's like when people are coming over your house and you just hide everything, and you put everything in the drawer or in the closet. Same thing we did here, all good. But I appreciate that. Definitely do appreciate that. Why don't you have a star, Maisie? I don't know. Sorry, I don't know why you don't have a star. Probably because you're not following me. Maybe. Are you not following me? I don't know. I assume that's what it's for. You need to get a star. you are the only one without a star. What's up, Amame? How you doing? Propagation 69. Good to see you. What's up, Chris? How is everyone doing on this sweet day? Missed all last week because my wife and I had the baby. Congratulations. But now I'm mostly caught up with Decoded. Oh, first off, congratulations. If I remember correctly, this is your first one, just like ours. So let me know how that's going. If you need to, these do go up on YouTube if you need to take some time, and I understand that's pretty dope. Congratulations. Hope everything is going well. Hope everyone is doing well. The wife, the baby. Congratulations again for sure. Just over here getting all scared and ready as well for ours. Oh, the stars of subscription. Okay, well, thanks everyone man, that's a lot of subscribers. I appreciate that. First off, Mainzy, see how it's Mainzy is family, and like literal family, and she's not subbed. See, she's not subbed. So, it's yeah, $1,000 folks, betting in favor. Yeah, that's fair. So I will say Mahomes become the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. Yeah, so hopefully, like I said, think what you want. There's everything's super interesting right now. But if you bet against Tom Brady, you can love the guy, you can hate the guy. I understand both sides of the argument for that, but you can't bet against Tom Brady. I refuse to ever bet against Tom Brady, to be 100% honest, and I think he showed us that. He showed us that this weekend, to be honest. I didn't want Tampa Bay to win. I am pretty excited that Tampa Bay won because this topic's a little bit closer to me, but my brother is a college football coach, and every coordinator on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is a black person, which is pretty interesting. There aren't a lot of black coaches in the NFL. There aren't a ton of black coaches in the NFL, a lot of black players, not a lot of black coaches, and that's super helpful. That's super, it's just things that are going to open up doors more so for my brother. So I was pretty excited about that. So that was one reason that I was rooting for them. But I never bet against Tom Brady. I know better than to bet against Tom Brady. I did want Mahomes to win. I did want Kansas City to win, but never. You just the guy he's different. He's simply built different. That's just how it is. Okay. All sports is probably rigged, to be 100% honest, but they've rigged it in a way where I know now that Tom Brady is not someone that I would like to bet against ever. I don't like him as a person. I have no problem admitting he's the GOAT. Same. I feel the same way. I feel the exact same way. I have no issues at all admitting he's the GOAT. Not even a little bit. So move from TIA to the Java program. Dope. That's awesome. That's great. That's really great. Seriously, I'm becoming a bigger and bigger fan of Java. So interestingly enough, I talk a lot of crap about Java, but everyone talks a lot of crap about Java. But a lot of people reach out to me about my crap talk about Java, and I've done some more digging into Java, and I'm coming around on Java a little bit. I'm coming around on some of the newer features of Java and some of the cool things Java is doing. The problem is the people who are using Java in the workplace are enterprises who move slowly, who aren't using all these cool features, but it's all good. That's pretty dope. Definitely amazing. Tons of jobs. It'll help you out with everything. So congratulations. That's dope. When you see recruiter Charlie Strong, yeah, no, I agree. Okay, so tonight we are finally in the infrastructure as code phase. This tonight is where you've probably been waiting to get to as someone who wants to be a DevOps practitioner or a site reliability engineer, anyone dealing with infrastructure and automation. This is probably the point. Like everything else is super important, but this is probably the point in your mind that you wanted to get to these next 2 weeks, the infrastructure as code portion. Tonight, we're going to be learning about infrastructure provisioning tools and specifically working with Terraform, whereas next week we'll be working with configuration management tools, probably Ansible, most likely Ansible. I almost guarantee it's going to be Ansible. It's Maisie. Thank you. So CLD, thank you so much. Hope you all had a good meeting. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the meeting today. Hope you all had a good meeting. I'll definitely catch up with you all tomorrow. I'll try to catch up with you all tomorrow. I have a busy day tomorrow too. But thank you so much for using your Prime sub with me. It's Mainzy. I appreciate the tier 1 sub. Oh yeah, never mind. You had to use that. You don't have Amazon Prime, but if you did have Amazon Prime, you could have gotten a subscription for free. But I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you. Comp sci major nowadays, Python and Java. I agree. Start with C. Yeah, I mean, I do have a strong desire to hop into C for a little while, but I'm not going to because Rust is a thing. And from everything I'm hearing, that really kind of bridges the gap between Go and C from a conceptual standpoint. Like I kind of want to understand. I want to get closer to the system. I want to get closer to the metal, and that's the reason why I kind of want to dive into that. But definitely later. Yeah, Dark Summoner, Ansible is pretty cool. I'm going to share some of my feelings about all of these provisioning tools and when and why you would want to use them. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. I'm definitely gonna share that. Will we ever use pack? Sorry, it's Maisie. I keep saying your message. It is there. It got there very quickly. Hype training coming. I appreciate. Thank you everybody for all the subs. Val Maven, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I do appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Yes, we will use Packer. We won't use Packer on here. I use Packer all the time. Tonight we will talk about how you would use Packer in terms of this workflow. Packer is super great to know. Tonight, Terraform is from a company called HashiCorp, and they also make Packer, so we'll definitely talk about those for sure. I'm interested in looking more into D-Lang. You definitely piqued my interest. It's saved on my little bookmarks, my short list I keep of things that I'm actually going to dive into, because I have another bookmark list of things that like I put everything on. It's on there. It's definitely on there. What's up, Dorian? It's good to see you. Ansible seems like the best choice. Yeah, I agree. Nowadays, Ansible I think is a pretty clear winner to me in the configuration management space, but we'll talk about that next week. This week is about provisioners, so let's get into it. Make sure we have a little bit of time to hop around, have a good time. Let's hop in the classroom. I think we have 3 slide decks tonight. So essentially what we're going to try to get through tonight is a understanding of infrastructure as code. Then we're going to try to, understand what Terraform is, and we'll start to learn how to get hands-on. We'll get it installed. We'll learn the basics of Terraform, the different pieces. We'll try to learn the basic Terraform workflow. And I think tonight we're going to try to get some stuff spun up in Linode for 2 reasons. One, because I've never got anything spun up in Linode. I never used a provider ever. This is actually my first time jumping into it. For them specifically, and I don't want you to. I'm assuming that it's going to be more simple to hop into Linode than it will be to hop into AWS with that stuff tonight, because this is an AWS course and everyone's not super set up with that stuff. On Wednesday, so we're gonna learn how Terraform works tonight. We're gonna provision things tonight. That's what we're gonna focus on tonight. And then on Wednesday, we'll take the whole time and we'll practically go through a scenario of setting things up and adding on to it and changing things. We'll have a guided scenario on actually utilizing these things. So we got 3 sets of slides tonight, and these are the slides from Hoist 100%. So this is the first half of Hoist. Basically, Hoist is the dedicated excursion to learn Terraform. We will probably run, we honestly will probably run that sometime in March if you're interested in diving into it a little bit deeper. The Hoist is actually going to change. Most of the excursions are going to change. They're going to change in a way to where we're going through the concepts faster, and then there's usually the last 2 days, the last week of it is going to be full practical application of it. So to make sure we get that in there. So we're going to kind of condense it down just a little bit. What's up, Lead DevOps? Good to see you. My boss just did a Terraform demo at work. Yeah, it's pretty dope. It really is a good, it's a really cool tool. We ever look at PyQt and how to make a nice GUI in Python? It's not on the docket for right now, but I can definitely throw it on there, especially for a Saturday build series. I think doing GUIs is dope. I'm just bad at GUIs. I'm bad at making them look good, but I think that's a great topic. Copy and paste that now. I think it's a really good idea. All right, there we go. Okay. Dorian, thank you. Y'all are always coming through, especially at the beginning of the week with all the love and the support. And, you know, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Dorian. Thank you so much for starting the week off correct. You know, we got a hype train going. Everyone is committed to the war on advertisements. Congratulations on not having to watch any more advertisements. You're doing good. Also, I got the new emotes back today, so there'll be an additional amount of emotes. I don't really know how the second tier of emotes works, but hopefully you all have access to some more emotes as well, so you get access to that as well. But thank you so much for that. Nitro Sage, thank you so much for subbing. I appreciate it. You know, you're just love, just nothing but love. I do appreciate it. All right, let's get into it so that we can make sure we can get hands on with stuff. If I sound tired tonight, I'm gonna try to. I think as we go along, my energy will come up. But I'm, you know, we've gotten close. We've gotten close to the baby date, and I got to make sure. I was like, man, I got to get back in the gym heavy. So I woke up at 4:45 this morning. So it's been, you know, I'm back on it. It's not the waking up early part that's the problem. It is I was stupid today, and I went straight to the Stairmaster. And I'm not a Stairmaster. I weigh a lot, okay? So Stairmaster for me is not the place to be. But it was a really good workout, and it was leg day. So you know, I'm hurting. Not gonna lie to y'all, I'm hurting a little bit today, but it's okay. You know, I know this feeling. I'm on the grind. All right, I'm on the grind. You know, I'll make it happen. Yeah, I'm standing. I'll probably sit down a little bit later. But right now, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, White Wolf, that is the wrong slides. Let me get you those, or these slides, I guess. Day 1, not present. Back to the share button. Change it up. Let's remove this one and anyone with the link. Copy link. There we go. Oh, Sully, hold on. Yes, I can weigh that much. I wish I could, if my camera setup wasn't so janky and I thought I could move it to show you. I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy. I weigh a lot more than 240. I told y'all I was on the road to The Rock, when I wanted to look like The Rock, when I still want to look like The Rock, that I had to get down to The Rock's weight. The Rock is like 6'3", 6'4". I am 5'8". Okay, and I weigh more than The Rock. And you know what? Hold on. See, you're gonna make me just to. I got you. Hold on 1 second. You know, hey, big boy. That's me. So yeah, I'm a big boy. Okay. There's no way around it. I can't deny it. That's why I'm trying to get down before you know, get back into the swing of things. You know, yeah, short men rise up 100%. let's see. Let's see if I can find. Hold on, here we go. My mother posted a picture of like me and my brother and stuff for his. It was my brother's birthday yesterday as well, so I got to spend some time with some family. That was good. It's been a while. Really nice to be able to do that. But I'm smaller. I'm smaller than I am. I'm smaller now than I was in this picture. But you know it. I'm. Oh darn it! This is the wrong computer. Well, that didn't work. I will see if I can pull that. I'm not logged into. Wait, where'd it go? Hold on. Let's see if this works. This is I don't get on this Facebook account. The Rock isn't all natural though. You know, hey, it's you know, it is what it is. I think I could look like The Rock. I think I could do. I think I could. Okay, I'll find a picture for you. Don't let me leave tonight without finding you all a picture of myself. Just to show you that I'm plus 300 pounds. That's all. Just letting you know that your boy but I was a college athlete, and I am pretty solid. I'm very solid actually. So it definitely doesn't look. I don't think I look 300 pounds, but I'm 300 pounds, and I'm trying to get down. I'm really trying to get down to 240. Before the quarantine, I lost a lot. Yeah, I did do shot put. I did shot put and discus, and yes, all we did was lift weights. All we did was lift weights and do technique work. All right, let me find my real, like, this is my mastermind page. Let me find my real. Yeah, okay. Well, it's not gonna come up. This is a waste of time right now. But I wanted to see. I have some cool shot put pictures on here somewhere. Let's see. Let's see if we can find some. See, I mean, I'm heavy. This is old. This is from 2017. But I'm definitely a heavy guy. I can't find. Let me see if I can find some shot put pictures in here somewhere. You know, oh, these are old school. Oh, actually, there's definitely one. You know, close your eyes. Close your eyes, because there's definitely one in here with. There's certainly a nip slip in here somewhere of me throwing some shot put. Here we go. Here we go. The good old days. Cover your eyes a little bit. You know, got a little nip slip going. This will probably get reported. But you know, the good old days. I did get a scholarship to go throw shot put. I really liked it a lot. I really had a good time doing it, and I considered trying to do it afterwards. But like at 5'8", like I was at, you know, UMBC is a D1 school. I competed against everyone's so big. Like, look, when you get there, like you go from high school, you go to college, like everyone's like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and up, just really big guys. And like I weighed as much as them, but you know, so how far did I throw? My longest shot put indoor was 56 feet. My longest outdoor is 57 feet, a little over 57. It was in meters. I don't remember what the meters were. But 56 indoors, 57 outdoors. My longest discus is 167 point, like 167, 167 feet, 11 inches. And my hammer was never very good. My farthest hammer is like 155 or something like that. But yeah, yep, that 16-pound shot put, you know, that's what I'm saying. I was getting decent. I was really trying to hit that 60-foot mark before I left school. Like I almost took a year off because I got injured going into my senior year. I almost was going to redshirt and get another year because I really wanted to hit the 60-foot mark, but never got around to it. Yeah, yep. Oh, dope CLD. That's really good. That's seriously really good. Yeah, high school, I think the farthest I ever threw was like 53, 54. But yeah, in college, I threw like 56 and 57. It's 57 farthest, but I preferred indoor shot because, you know, the weather's nice all the time. But cool. Now you know a little bit more about me. Now you've seen my nipple, which is a little bit weird, but now we're a little bit closer. Hopefully you feel more comfortable learning from me now. Now we can move on. We can move on from that. I agree. Throw team always had the most fun. I also met my wife on the track and field team. She was a hurdler, and I guess not mid distance. So I guess mid distance, 500, 800, 400 meter hurdles. Yeah, and that's where we met. So hopefully, our child will get all of her speed, all of my strength, and all of her looks. That's the goal. That's that. her speed, her looks, and maybe just a little bit of my strength. Boy or girl, doesn't matter. I think that'll work out well because she's certainly the beauty in the family. It's all good. All right, so time to move on. Luckily tonight, I think we'll be able to get through so much because Terraform is a lot of concepts to knock out, but I think Terraform is very approachable. You may not know what you want to do with it yet. You may not have the context around what to build with it yet, but Terraform it's highly approachable, especially in comparison to some of the other tools that are out here. If you are following the Horizons class and you saw what we were able to do with the CDK and with the AWS CDK, as well as CloudFormation, this is that, but in my opinion, much better, and a lot of people's opinions, much better. So let's go through it. Hoist is not Hoist. This is pipelines, but it's infrastructure provisioning with Terraform. Let's do it. So what are we learning today? We're gonna learn what is Terraform. We're gonna learn about Terraform in the workplace a little bit. What is infrastructure as code and why you should use it. We'll talk about multi-cloud a little bit. That's more so specifically for the Hoist class. So we're not gonna dig into that very much. We're probably not gonna dig into Terraform in the workplace either, because we are doing a course specific on where we would use it. And introduction, Terraform installation and introduction to the HashiCorp configuration language. Let's do it. So what in the world is Terraform? The word Terraform, this is the definition of the word Terraform. Terraform is a tool, but the word already existed if you weren't familiar with it, but it's to change the environment of a planet so that it's more like another planet. Usually this is in relation to Earth. So if you're into sci-fi or anything like that, when people are going to terraform a planet, they are going to, have some kind of tool or some type of machinery or something, or there's gonna be some process to change the atmosphere and the environment on that planet in a way that it's habitable, by people from Earth usually. So I guess what movie was it? Was it one of the one of the Marvel movies? I can't remember which one it was, where they got the big ship and they put them at the poles. But was it Superman? And it's like gravity. It's like and everything is going up and then down and then up and then down. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna make it so that all of our people can now live here because we want to take this over. Man of Steel. They were terraforming that. Again, usually it's talking about the Earth, but changing one's environment to make it more like another. That is what I want you to focus on. That's what the word itself means. But what is HashiCorp's Terraform? Terraform is simply a tool for building, changing, and versioning. I really want you to put the word versioning in the back of your mind, but versioning infrastructure safely and efficiently. Terraform can manage existing and popular service providers as well as custom in-house solutions. What does all that mean? All it means is that Terraform allows you to be able to build, change, and maintain infrastructure. A lot of times we're talking about cloud infrastructure, but it's not only cloud infrastructure. It's any kind of device. It's any kind of, not any kind, but theoretically any kind. And we'll talk about why theoretically any kind, but being able to provision and build those things up and maintain them and version them and make sure you can use them effectively. And it works on a lot of different things. Dark Summoner. So Git. Yes, when you see versioning, yes, so Git. And we'll talk about that. So where would I use this? This one is more for the Hoist class, but DevOps engineers will use this, site reliability engineers, cloud engineers, system engineers, software engineers, really anyone who wants to, again, have hands-on with that infrastructure and wants a way to be able to maintain and manage their infrastructure in an automated fashion might be the person to use this thing. So we don't need to do this part. We were gonna look at some job descriptions in Hoist. Just again, there are people who are coming in to learn about Terraform during the excursions. People are coming in to learn some of these tools without the context of a role. They might be product owners. They might be something else who need to know about this thing, and that's why we talk about some of these things in the excursions. So the excursions do have a little bit. It is a little bit different going through those. So, but what is infrastructure as code? Like what does that actually mean? Infrastructure as code. Function build me a server. Infrastructure as code, or commonly referred to as IAC, is the process of managing and provisioning computer data centers through machine readable definition files rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. Long definition. Again, I always want you to have the Wikipedia definition, but that's a lot of words. That might not mean anything to you. Hopefully it does mean something to you. But we're gonna break it down into pieces so that you can understand it. Busy with my studies, I'll be sure to use your YouTube channel. Absolutely, Lord Azazel. See you later. Thanks for coming through. Good to have you. All right, so the first part, managing, provisioning computer data centers. Computer data centers, we're thinking of networks, and we're thinking of literally buildings that have, you know, these servers in them that are networked together, and they have hard drives and all those computing resources. And so this is talking about provisioning those data centers. It's interesting that they put it in these terms because, again, it does affect more. This is more so a definition for cloud computing. And yeah, you're provisioning these things. You're building these things up. You're configuring the same resources that you would be utilizing if you had your own computer to do it, but you're doing it through machine readable definition files. So we've done a little bit of this here. We've been clicking around inside the console. We might have hit some APIs and stuff, but instead, infrastructure as code means you're using machine readable definition files. Okay, so you're using text files that can be understood by a machine, just like a programming language. You write some text, you pass it to a machine and can understand it, and you define what it is that you want. All right, you declare what it is that you would like to have and what you want it to look like, and the machines will make it happen. And so you'll do this instead of doing it manually. Instead of, racking and stacking and going in manually and clicking around and typing out all your commands from the command line, you are doing this through a definition file that you write beforehand and passing this over to a service. And there are a lot of infrastructure as code tools. But first, why would you want to do this? This is the whys of infrastructure as code is super important. This is again, these whys are what you want to use when you get into a job interview, and maybe you aren't super keen on Terraform or anything like this yet, but understanding why you would want to use one can be really, really important to the conversation. The first one, it creates a consistent and reusable way to deploy and manage infrastructure assets and configuration. Consistency and reusability, very, very important when you're talking about managing what could be hundreds or thousands of servers or resources. Okay, very often you're going to be working for someone. You're not going to be dealing with one system. You're going to be dealing with hundreds, maybe thousands of different resources and systems. And if you had to manage those things manually, if you and a team of people had to go in and, update things and maintain things manually, there's not a lot of consistency there. We are fallible. We make lots of mistakes. And so you want a consistent way so that you can have confidence in what you're doing, and reusable as well, so that you can, do something once and be able to utilize it over and over again. Saves you a lot of time. All right. This is a big one right here, that it helps prevent configuration drift. What in the world is configuration drift? Well, if we have 6 different servers that our production workflow runs on, and we are maintaining these things manually, not even just manually, but we're maintaining these things, it's possible for them to get out of whack. It's possible for us to go run an update on all these servers, and maybe one of them has a weird network hiccup and the updates don't get fully applied to one of the servers. And now that one has a few little security bugs on it that we are kind of missing out on. And then we go to deploy some new code and we push it to 5 of the 6 servers. We thought we pushed it to the 6, but we missed another little error that happened on another server. So now that one's kind of weird. And then someone was testing out some things, and they went on and they manually installed an extra tool or package. They wanted to see if it worked on the systems, and they manually installed it, but they didn't remove it. And now it's only on one system and not the rest. And before you know it, you have 6 servers that have 6 different configurations on them. The configuration has drifted away from what it was supposed to be, from the ideal place. And infrastructure as code, it remedies that. It helps to prevent it, because you declare what it is that you want, and you declare how you want them to be. And infrastructure as code tools allow the systems to stay in that fashion. If they change, if something happened and for some reason they've drifted away, they can be reset to the manner in which you'd want to use them in. Free documentation. This is by far the best aspect to me is that you get free documentation. We already talked about how bad people are at documentation. If you say you're good at documentation, that just means you're better than all the bad people, but no one's really all that good at documentation. But it gives it to you for free. You should still go do some extra documentation, but you don't have to do any extra documentation. If you practice infrastructure as code, if you codify your infrastructure, if anyone needs to know what you have or what you're supposed to have, they can simply go to wherever you're holding your code, probably GitHub, and look at it and see, oh, I see that we're supposed to have this many systems attached to these network devices with this much hard drive space. You can see exactly what you have there, and you can understand what is going on if you go and look. It's very fast. It's much faster than if you were to provision these things on your own. And then it allows you to automate your infrastructure. Welcome, Anthony Writes Code. First off, shout out to Anthony Writes Code. If you all ever, there's so many dope only devs. There's so many dope people here doing great things on Twitch. If you want to learn how to code, you want to watch someone do smart things that, not mess up while they're typing as bad as me, and solve some cool problems. Anthony Writes Code. Please give him a follow. Welcome. Thank you so much for the raid tonight. Raiders, we are learning about Terraform. If you're unfamiliar with Terraform, it is an infrastructure as code tool that allows you to write code to be able to provision infrastructure. We're going to be using cloud infrastructure for this to both provision and manage cloud infrastructure. So that's what we're learning about tonight. Welcome. Come on in, JB Pratt. Come on, Pythonic. Come on, Headhunter. It's good to see everybody. What's up, Perk? Welcome to the channel. Dennis, Zerum, welcome to the channel. Thank you all so much for the follows. Lean, good to see you. Imagine, welcome to the channel. Midori, welcome. Chess, good to see you. All right. I know I hopped in earlier. I hopped in, you were streaming for a long time, because I hopped in a long time ago. A really long time ago, actually. Love my headset. Thank you, Fred Achiever. I appreciate that. Yeah, these are the Bear Dynamics DT990s, I think. That sounds right. Maybe. I act like I know things about tech sometimes, but I just be saying stuff. I read it and then I try to repeat it and hope it sounds good. But they could not be that. I don't know. Oh, so kind of works means working to me, iteration. This is the DevOps and SRE bootcamp. So, iteration. We believe in an iterative approach. You got to go and you get some feedback. You get some feedback on it. You incorporate that feedback and you make it better. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Can we also add that we have the ability to work with different cloud providers? Yeah, no, we're going to get there. We're going to get there we're going to get there very shortly. All right. So, automating the infrastructure was the last piece there when Anthony Writes Code came on in here with the gigantic raid. Thank you so much. But automating your infrastructure, being able to do things automatically, that is one of the biggest pillars of a lot of the things that we are going to be doing when we're dealing with infrastructure. We would like to automate as much as we can, because again, you don't want to be doing stuff manually out here. You make mistakes. That just means you have to do more work. If you can take the time up front to automate these things, it is very, very exciting. We're gonna go over these slides again next week a little bit, but there are 3 different paradigms or pillars of infrastructure as code. There is infrastructure provisioning. Okay, so I want you to think about this from the ground up. There is getting the actual resources that your applications are going to need to run. So getting the servers, getting the networks, getting the systems, getting the hard drives, the storage space, getting all that. Infrastructure provisioning is one piece of the infrastructure as code stack. Okay, so go ahead and give me the things. The next one is server and software configuration management. So now that we have the stuff, we need to get the stuff configured, and we need to get all the things to make our application run on them. And so that's kind of where this server and software configuration management will come in. That is what Ansible is going to do with us. There's a lot of overlap between these, but that's where Ansible is going to come in for us next week. And then there's scripting. Scripting you can do kind of all of this with, but it doesn't provide some of the same support that we're going to talk about that Terraform gives you this evening. Multi-cloud. We're not gonna dive into multi-cloud tonight. The reason why it's on here again is because this is for the excursion for Hoist. But This is what Aya was talking about a little bit earlier, that the exciting thing about Terraform is on Friday, we learned in the AWS course, we learned in Horizons, we learned about CloudFormation, and we learned about AWS CDK, the cloud development kit or cloud developer kit, whatever. Those are Amazon Web Services specific items. So you learn those, you can only automatically provision things inside of Amazon Web Services. Terraform, on the other hand, has the ability to work with many more things. Theoretically, if it has an API, if it has a way for you to interact with it, you can write something called a provider, which we're about to learn about, that will allow you to manage this thing. So while you might see the word multi-cloud, and when people talk about Terraform, they often say the word multi-cloud. I want you to understand that they are not being completely honest with you. This is not a multi-cloud tool, okay? A lot of people get into their mind that this means, because it has the compatibility to work with everything, that, hey, I can say, hey, give me 2 servers and give me this much storage space, that I can write one piece of code in Terraform and deploy that to Amazon, use that to deploy to Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud Platform with one bit of code. That is not true. That's something that I see a lot of people believing, because people always talk about, oh, Terraform's multi-cloud and it works out, no, it's cloud agnostic in the way that it can work. It has the capability of working with not even just every cloud provider or major cloud providers, but anything you want it to work with, you can write software to make it work with it. So that makes it pretty cool. So once you learn how to use the tool, you can then apply it to any of those platforms, but it is going to be different. Writing stuff for Linode, which we're going to do tonight, is going to be different from the stuff that we do on Wednesday when we write stuff for AWS. Okay, so just want to be very clear about that. All right, so now we're going to get into the fun part. We're gonna, we're already through the information, most of it. We're going to get it installed. Okay, we'll learn a little bit more through the process of getting installed. We'll learn a little bit more about it. We're going to get over to the HashiCorp website and get it installed. So between the ATH M50X, I know about the M50Xs only because that is MKBHD's headphone of choice, or it was before the Sonys came out. So I know what the tech tubers tell me, and I remember those things. So yeah. All right. You can also use brew to install Terraform if you're on a Mac, by the way. All right, so yes, you can do that 100%. The thing about Terraform is that's cool about it is that Terraform is written in Go. We love Go. We love Go over here, but it's written in Go, which means it's delivered in an easy to run executable. So if you click this link, I actually think if you type in Terraform, that's not the right link, but okay, we'll fix that. Okay, that's the learn Terraform, so never mind. So just go to hashicorp.com. Here, I'll send it to you. I need to change that. Actually, I'll leave that up because that's a good, their learn site is good. I actually gave you that in your in the classroom. But hashicorp.com. First, let's talk about HashiCorp a little bit. HashiCorp is a company it was founded by a guy, I think his name is Mitchell Hashimoto. And I tagged him on Twitter. I was hoping he might stop through. I seen him stop through a couple people's. He stopped through the Alt F4 F4 stream when he did a overview of Boundary after HashiConf this past year. But it is a company that builds open source infrastructure tools. Like all of the tools that they build are surrounding infrastructure and helping you manage and work with infrastructure properly. They have a bunch of dope, super iconic products. Engineers love HashiCorp. Like the tools that they build are so useful. Like they're so very useful for what you want to do. So things like Packer, things like Terraform. Terraform is what we're going to learn tonight. Packer, very cool tool, and also and I use it heavily in conjunction with Terraform. Vagrant, something that so many of us have used in the past, and people still use it all the time. I don't really use Vagrant anymore. Vagrant allows you to be able to do kind of what Terraform does, but it's more like what Packer does, but it allows you to be able to provision virtual machines, and allows you to be able to set up a consistent virtual machine environment via code, which is kind of cool, via like this little script, Vagrant files. So that's pretty cool. Packer allows you to build machine images that you might use either in a VM or with Amazon. I think we talked about AMIs last week when we learned about the cloud, but Amazon machine images, those base images that your server might be spun up off of, Packer can be used to build those, which is pretty cool. Vault is it's kind of a key value store. It's kind of a secure data store for credentials, a credentials manager, which is nice for your secret store. Boundary, we're not gonna talk about Boundary right now because I think to understand why, like, to explain what Boundary is, you need to know a fair amount of things. And I still want to dive into it. We're going to do something with Boundary because I want to dive into it. But they got a lot of other stuff. Nomad is like their container. I think it's like a container orchestration platform, and Console is like service discovery and a bunch of other stuff as well. And then Waypoint is like a developer's like platform as a service, like application provisioning thing. It's pretty dope. You know, it is pretty cool. Yes, I agree with you, Penguins Airlines. Come on, you know, come on and sponsor us, HashiCorp. We would love to do lots of HashiCorp stuff. I think all of your products, except I don't know much about Nomad yet, and I don't yet fully grasp Boundary's usefulness. And I think that it might have to do with the context of the way that I think about running a project, but I would like to know a little bit more about it. I understand what it does and I understand how you would use it, but yeah. Yes, I have used Pulumi a little bit, not a ton, pot liquor, but definitely, I mean, I definitely tried it before. It's cool. I mean, I think that Pulumi will get much more play now that Amazon CDK is out. I think once people get a taste of the CDK, I think that they're actually going to pull back and decide they want to learn Pulumi, because I think developers are going to have an easier switch. And because that's also cloud agnostic, I think Pulumi is actually going to grow a lot larger, personally. But we'll see. All right, so tonight we are learning specifically about the one and only Terraform. Cloud infrastructure automation. And it's interesting they put cloud infrastructure on here because, again, it is not only for the cloud. It has a lot of different things. So let's first get it installed, and then we're gonna go in and break down all the things. We're gonna learn about provisioners and what that means, and we're gonna learn about all the workflow, all the little terms and stuff. We're gonna get into it. So you heard me say it's open source. It is an open source. I think all of their stuff is open source projects. And so, you know, we'll give it, you know, it's already starred. Go ahead and give it a star. It's that cool. I'm actually surprised it doesn't have more stars than this, but you also can pay them to give you support and I guess some other stuff. I actually don't know what you get when you pay. You probably get some kind of Terraform cloud or something where they manage your state and some other stuff here, but you can pay for stuff if you want to. But yeah. Python and PY, yeah, I mean, 25,000 stars, like, I actually think that's on the low end for them, to be 100% honest with you, but yeah. Like, I would have expected a lot more. Like, it's pretty popular. What's up, Dunk? Good to see you. Cameron, welcome to the channel. What's up, Berg? I missed you coming on through. It's good to see you all here. I'm using the free one for pre-commit. Okay. It's pre-commit.ci, like a, yeah, I would say CI server. That's service. That sounds pretty cool. All right, so let's hop into it. So it actually tells us right here, Terraform Cloud is what you could get. There's free for up to 5 users. Okay, so maybe I'll start using Terraform Cloud for a little bit more. Team and governance and business. Dope, great, but you don't have to do any of that. You can simply go over to their GitHub page and you can either install through here, or you can find, they have some releases. Where do they usually put their, I never go through the GitHub section. You can go over here and click releases. I'll send you the link for this. And you can download the executable for you. Yes, you can install this through Brew. I don't know if it's packaged up for any other package manager. I actually have no idea. I always grab it either directly from here, or I think you can just Google install HashiCorp. They have a good installation page. Install Terraform. Let's see if we can find it really quick. Because I think I have to install too. Yeah, you can see I've been here many times. And here's their workflow, their tutorial for how to use it. And so maybe that is where the installation is. You can use Chocolate too. Now, I want you to be careful though on the version that's installed. I don't know what version's going to be installed. I'm going to install the latest. All right. So Terraform went through a pretty substantial change. The HashiCorp configuration language and their APIs changed from version 0.12 to 0.13. There was some pretty, oh, actually, was it 0.11 to 0.12? I think was the big change. So once they went from 0.11 to 0.12, they made some big changes. I think there were also some substantial changes from 0.12 to 0.13. I think there were some big changes there as well, I think. I know at the very least some provider information changed and stuff. I don't know if there's been any big changes between 0.13 and 14, which 14 is the newest one. I'm going to install that. If we run into any problems, we will work through them. There are two, 0.11 and 0.13. Okay, yep. TFM is like MVM for Terraform. Good. Oh, if you just switch versions. Okay, I didn't know. I did not know about TFM. That's pretty helpful. 14 seems most of the same except quoting variable names. Okay, let's see. I will definitely check out TFM. I did not know about that. I haven't had the need to use multiple versions, but that is something that's very good to know for sure. So I'm on Linux, and so I'm going to grab. So yeah, Homebrew on OS X, Chocolatey on Linux. I mean, Chocolate on Windows and Linux. You can curl and just download it. So I'm going to log into my server, and I'm going to do this. So let's SSH into. For some reason, I hate SSHing from PowerShell. There's no reason why I should, but you know, it is what it is. All right, so we're in. Clear that up. Here we go. My brain almost had a segment fault when you said chocolate on Linux. Yeah, that's my bad. You know, it's because my brain's going through seg faults because my legs are tired. Like that's the reason why. I got a notice in VS Code that there's an update for Go available. Should I install it or that mess up following along? It shouldn't mess up following along. We are not doing anything fancy in Go. That's not like we're using all core components, and like we're not even diving into modules or anything right now yet. So you should be good right now. At least part of you still hates wind blows. Again, you know, I actually don't feel tied to any operating system right now. I'm impressed with what they're doing. You know, for as much as I hated them before, like I uprooted my entire life. So I did it in college. I did it my last 2 years of college. I was like, I'm not doing Windows ever again. And I had a lot of trouble. Do you know how many workarounds I had to do to like work on school assignments? Like I had to do so many workarounds to just work on simple school assignments because they had stuff that you needed Windows for, which was dumb. But you know, we got through it. Yep, I'm OS agnostic for sure. Like I said, right now for me, Windows is the most complete operating system. But let me be clear. I told you all the reason why you're seeing me use Windows now. Like that would be why I use Windows on my main desktop. The reason why you're seeing Windows, again, we talked about, actually everyone wasn't here. It was on Saturday. On Saturday, I told you that I'm using a, what's this called? A Surface Pro. And again, the reason is why, because you know, I could do stuff like this. And I can say, hey, and then do this and blah, 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 and point here. That's cool, man. That's good for teaching. Okay. I haven't utilized it in amazing ways yet, but you know, it seems like it's good for teaching. And so that's the biggest reason why you're looking at Windows right now, because you know, the pen functionality here helps. Also, I did System 76. If anyone's unfamiliar, they're a Linux laptop company. They are doing a giveaway. They're doing they're like sponsoring people who are creating a thing. So I reached out to them and told them about the Cerebro platform that we're trying to build. And maybe if we do get one of those systems, we may go back to Linux. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. I might figure out some stuff. I saw that you could use a Wacom tablet on Linux, no problem. Or Wacom, whatever, either one. But yeah, my whiteboard, exactly. So I have my iPad. I used to use my iPad for a whiteboard. I think I can still figure out some stuff. I think I can, but we'll see. Yeah, I agree. I am a big fan of Windows in recent years, but I still would prefer to be on my workflow on Linux is much better than it is in Windows, but still good. And I use Windows for gaming as well. All right, so here we go. Let's get it installed. Let's get Terraform installed. Oh, we have a lot of time. We're good. I'm going to follow these commands right here so that I can get the GPG key here, and it'll confirm that, you know, what I'm installing is the real thing. So I'm gonna do this. No, it failed. Hold on. First, let me make a directory for this. This is, let's go to mastermind. What's in here? I have no idea what's in here. Nope, let's get out of there. Let's clear that out, man. And let's make a directory, and we'll just call this Terraform. All right, let's get in here, and oh, failed writing body. Let's see. Add key. That was the Ubuntu. That's why I'm using Fedora. There we go. So let's sudo dnf install. You got to pay attention to what you're using. I always forget that I'm using Fedora here. Close this. Let's go ahead and install. Oh, this setup is. Seems excessive. Not really. So it looks like it's going to have me use my package manager to install this. So looks like they do packages up for your package manager. But you just have to add in the different repositories to make it work. So we'll watch that go. That's complete. Then we'll take this right here. Let's paste that in. Oh, not found. Hold on. LSB release. Oh, I wonder, because the way it pasted. Let me try manually copying. Maybe it'll help. Hold on, let's make it smaller. Ooh, okay. LSB release. Oh, never mind. I'm copying the wrong thing. I'm copying Deb again. I'm copying Debian again. See, you know, you gotta pay attention to what you're doing. I have to pay attention. I'm saying that so that I start paying attention to what I'm doing. All right, so I'll copy this because that is the correct thing. And this will get the right repo set up. And now that the right repo is set up, I can simply use DNF or yum. Like DNF is just better yum. And I'm basically yum installing Terraform. Correct. App does not work on Fedora. You can get app to work on Fedora. There will be compatibility issues with the things that you install. I only know this because I've done it. I wanted to see if you could do it. You can get it to work. Yeah, you can definitely get it to work. It will, because of the file structure and the way things are packaged up to go different places. Most things you install will not work, but some stuff will. Some stuff will. Okay, so we got it. We should have it installed now. And the way that you can confirm that you have Terraform installed, just like any other Linux application, is I can simply type in Terraform. And if I get output, generally that means, you know, if I get any output other than command not found, that generally means it's installed. And as you can see, we get basically the manual. We get the man pages for this thing. So usage Terraform, and it gives you a bunch of different commands that you can do, okay? So now we got Terraform installed. Let's go on to our next set of slides. So I gave you all 3 of these slides. Let's go on to our next set of slides here. What's up, Seva? Welcome to the channel. What's up, Unicorn? Good to have you as well. Also, it's kind of weird that Terraform doesn't have a V1 major release yet. I agree. I think it's weird. I think it's super weird when companies do this, to be 100% honest. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's super weird for sure. I don't love it. So let me share this with you. Slide deck number 2. So now we can learn a little bit more about how to use Terraform. Now that we have it installed, let's use it. Copy link. Y'all can hop in here. You know, exactly. Semantic versioning only works as well as you use it. And I guess they're using semantic versioning, but their minor changes are, I guess you're right. They're not breaking changes. They're just, no, they're kind of breaking changes. Do we have any outstanding assignments? Yeah, you have plenty of outstanding assignments that I haven't given to you yet, because I had to adjust basically I wanted as much of it as possible to be auto graded, and I made a lot of mistakes in the auto grading. So yes, the same way that the videos keep getting dropped in batches, they're gonna get dropped in batches. I'm sorry. You have plenty of time to do them. The deadline is no longer as long as this course is over. Since this is the first time we kind of had this much stuff to do, you know, when you get it done, just ping me and I will send you over your certificate of completion if you finish everything. Can't ever be blamed for releasing breaking changes if I never reached 1.0. So yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna say. You know, like I think it has to do with, you know, people who's at fault for things, and kind of, yeah, the blame game. You know, if stuff never reaches version 1, you probably feel pretty good about it. Yes, Grindle Ghoul, you hit exclamation point YouTube. These go up on playlists on my YouTube channel, and you can watch these for 60 days now. So now that we're partner, you can watch these for 60 days here on Twitch. They save for that long now, which 14 days before, now it is 60 days. So Amame, that is a good question. Can you define breaking change? Yeah, usually this is talking about breaking changes in terms of the systems that your code is interacting with. This is used heavily with APIs, to where if people are making requests to your APIs, and now requests that they are used to being able to make, if the structure is changed in a way that people will not be able to get that information back, then that is a breaking change. But I think this one's a little bit, I think this is a little bit more nuanced, because I guess even the APIs, yeah, you have the ability to go change your code to work accordingly. But they have introduced breaking changes in minor version upgrades. They've made it so that if you wrote all this code to provision your infrastructure, let's say you wrote your code before 0.13 or 0.11, before 0.11, and you wrote all this code to provision all this other stuff. If you were to upgrade to 0.12 and you were to try to deploy, it wouldn't work, or you'd run into things that would prevent you from doing that. Yeah, those are breaking changes. It breaks your workflow. You have to go in and resolve it yourself. You got to change up your code or whatever. So yeah. First I've heard of zero versioning. Nah, it's a common practice. It really is a common practice, especially recently. Yes, Grindelgold, they are permanent on YouTube. I can't access the AWS quiz in the classroom. I will check on that. Okay, so no one can access it. Okay, I will change the settings for that one. I think I did a breaking change. App not building now. I mean, that is a breaking change for sure. Terraform Grunt. I have no idea what Terraform Grunt is. Now I gotta Google it real quick before I forget. Terraform, I've never even heard of that. Terra Grunt, is this it? Keep your Terraform code. Oh, okay. This is weird. So this is a whole different package, a whole different tool, I guess, to help you out with your Terraform code. No matter how many environments you have. I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I'm not sure. Really? Someone asked you that in a job interview? That's really weird. I actually think that's very weird. Then wrapper, extra tools for, okay. I mean, never even heard of it. Cool. Hold on. Does it have a lot of stars? Let's see. I mean, it doesn't have no stars. That's pretty good. Okay. I never heard of it before. I've never used it. Feel like from the definition, it feels unnecessary, but we'll see. If someone had next to zero programming experience, I've done some Hello World several languages, which series would you recommend to start on? Definitely Decoded. Yeah, the Decoded series that started earlier this year, so it's going to be the top Decoded one in the list. Definitely start with that one. All right, so we got it installed. Let's start looking through our new slides to learn a little bit more about what we are going to do. So we're going to learn about the Terraform workflow, understand configuration, creation, and validation. We're going to talk about providers as well, and we're going to understand state, and we're going to do a little bit of practice. So before we do that, let's actually go all the way over to providers first. Translators gonna translate. What's up, Dominic Codes? Good to have you. The Lit Bunny. I love the name. I'm glad you are lit. We are doing our best to be lit here as well. Good to have you. What's up, Heavy D with Style? Welcome to the channel. Hope you're ready to continue learning about Terraform. So translator is going to translate. Providers are packages that are responsible for allowing Terraform to properly speak to a service's API. So we said that Terraform is cloud agnostic and that it can work with many tools. Okay, the way that it is able to work with many tools, the way that it understands all these different platforms, all these different services, is due to these providers. These providers are pieces of software written that you can incorporate into your Terraform that will that tell it basically how to properly speak to a service's API. Okay, so if you had your own, let's say you had your own, you know, we could Twitch has an API. We could write a provider that would allow us to be able to interact with Twitch and to be able to change stuff, you know, maybe change our stream title and start streaming and send out emotes and do some automation. You probably could do stuff like that, but you could write a provider for just about anything. Pythonic Pie, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. It's good to have you. So this is what they are. Let's go take a look at them a little bit. And all you got to do, you know, if you're ever confused about anything, you simply just Google Terraform Providers, okay? And I'm gonna browse the providers because I want you to see how many there are. So obviously, the major clouds are here, okay? The major clouds are going to be a part of this. So AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, right? Makes sense, you know, that they would have compatibility here. But we also have other clouds. These are like minor clouds, which is Alibaba. This is actually changed. This is actually a lot different than it used to be. This is actually much nicer because it used to just be a list. And it was broken down by major cloud, minor cloud, network. It was broken down kind of weird. So this is super helpful. But I can see public cloud providers. These are who I have right here. I may be able to look at so Oracle Cloud. I can manage Kubernetes with this as well. I can manage my databases. I can manage Mongo, DB Atlas, or Redis Cloud, Cassandra. So we have these verified providers. So these are the official ones that kind of HashiCorp keeps an eye on and make sure is official, up to date. And usually they are, you know, kept up to date by the companies that are running these. But you also have community providers, which is things that anyone can write. And so you got stuff for Postgres and lots of them for Postgres because anyone can write their own provider. So you should be careful with that. But there's, you know, platforms. Look at all these things, Heroku and all these other different things. I wonder where Linode is on here because that's what we're going to be using just tonight. And again, AWS is going to be tomorrow. Linode's documentation should be much lighter, I'm hoping. But you can also do things like you can manage like Cisco networking devices as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can use on here. Web services, Algolia Cloud, and I don't even know what most of this stuff is. But yeah, you can. Let me see what's under the CI part. I don't know anything about this. Artifactory, GitLab. Okay, that's dope. That's actually, I actually want to know more about this. I want to know a lot more about this. All right. I thought I would never see the Cheeto head again. I'm sorry. This is old. And you know, I thought you know, it seemed on brand. You know, I just went on Giphy. That's I'm sorry if I brought back any, you know, bad memories for you. I really am. All right. So that is what a provider is. Again, it's actually just it's a package of code that works with Terraform. You don't have to do, I'll show you, we're gonna learn what you have to do to enable one of these things. Pretty easy to do. You don't have to go and do all this manual installation. It's all kind of built and bundled in the way that they work. But again, for you to be able to provision or configure or interact with any of these services and things, you need a provider so that Terraform knows how to do that thing. All right. Whew. You thought it was a style to go quietly now. Yeah, you know, see, you wouldn't. I'm sorry, I actually didn't leave that up on purpose, so that you had to look at it for longer. But okay, my bad. So that is a provider. So tonight we are going to use the Linode provider. So I'll search the providers and I'll just type in Linode, and I hope they have one. Okay, cool. They have one here. Like I said, I've never touched it. I don't really know how it works, but it's got to be smaller than the AWS one. Should be fine. We should be able to build some stuff. It'll also be free for you. Again, there's a link down below if you want to follow along with exactly what we're doing tonight. We're also doing a workshop with AWS on this on Wednesday, so you get to actually touch multiple cloud providers when using this. All right, so what is the Terraform workflow? All right, what does that look like? Well, it's got a simple core workflow, and so I really want you to focus on the word core workflow the same way that we would focus on core workflow when we were talking about Git, but it's got a very simple core workflow that guides how you implement solutions with it. What's the first step that you do? The first step that you do is you initialize Terraform, okay? The same way that you would do a Git init to initialize the repository. Step 0 of all of this is to do an initialization, okay? If this is the first time you are going to be running Terraform code, you're going to need to initialize it first. This only needs to happen once. What happens during this initialization process? Well, what happens is it basically pulls in and downloads all of the packages and things that you're using to help configure and manage your code. This is specifically, it'll grab all of the data needed for your provider. So it'll download all the code for the code packages for your provider itself, and any other modules and things that you're using to provision your infrastructure. So kind of like an npm install, this will kind of do exactly that. If you don't have that stuff set up already in your code, the initialization actually doesn't do anything. It doesn't add a bunch of files and stuff. I think there is a way to have it like set up a file structure if you needed to, but I've never seen anyone use it that way. I don't use it that way. And so, yeah, it won't do much unless you have some code in there already. So if you were ever to grab some Terraform code, you started a company, grab some Terraform code before you can make it work. You clone this repo before you can make it work. You need to initialize it first. Or if you wrote some Terraform code before you can actually deploy it to do anything, you need to first initialize it right up front. I can't believe I run around for Wings to see the Bucks win. Hey, I want, for Wings, I feel you. I definitely feel you. But you had to have expected it though. You had to have it couldn't have been a surprise. Like you hurt a little bit, but couldn't have been a surprise at all. If you add additional providers to your workflow in the future, you may need to initialize more than once. Yes, that's a good point there. I probably should change this last line. The initialization, if you add more modules, if you add more outside things, you will need to initialize again to pull that in. That's actually a really good, point there, Decipher. So I should definitely change that for sure. All right, so after you initialize the repository, and again, this is the core workflow, okay? This is not, your workflow could be much more advanced than this. This is the core of what you would do. Step 1 is to write the code, okay? And so really, the step 1 part is interesting because this also goes before the initialization step if you're just getting started. But write the code, okay? So you're gonna be adding new resources, changing configuration, you're gonna be doing all kinds of stuff. So you're gonna, to achieve ultimate flow, we gotta write it, okay? Terraform files end in a .tf extension. There are more than just the .tf extension, but the main Terraform files, the main files that Terraform uses to be able to discover your resources are .tf files. So you need at least one .tf file there in your directory. We're about to do this in a second. Step 2, make a plan. And so I actually want to incorporate something else into your workflow. Right now, I'm gonna leave this as part of the core workflow because you don't have to do the other 2 things, even though you should. But make a plan, all right? After we write our code, we should make a plan to ensure that everyone knows what's going on. And so this is actually going to be something called Terraform Plan. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow you to understand what is gonna happen when you execute your Terraform code. It is, by default, it is a dry run. It is going to look at the state. We're about to learn about state, but it's gonna look at how things exist now. It's gonna look at the code that you wrote, the configuration that you now created, the things that you now describe that you want. It's gonna say, hey, for me to get from the way things are to the way things need to be, I'm gonna have to do some things. And it's gonna let you know those things right up front. This is the biggest plus for Terraform. This is why I think this is the single reason why people love Terraform the most, is because of this reason, because of the planning. You can save this to a file to be run later. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with planning, but you're going to be planning these things out. Correct. No need for change sets. No need for change sets. All right, and then after you plan it out, you say we're good to go, then you apply it. So once we've got our plan, we need to execute on that plan, and this is where we're actually going to have Terraform go through and execute the code that we ran. So a fairly simple process. So initialize, write, make a plan, apply it. That's really the flow. But that's the core workflow. The real flow, and when we do it real time, I think it'll feel a little bit better. The real flow I want you to use as your core workflow is to initialize. Then I want you to write it. Then I want you to validate it. Okay, so Terraform luckily has some cool things built into it because it's written in Go. Some of the things that we've seen in Go is that Go has an automatic formatter, and because it's a compiled language, it's got some validation already. And so Terraform has the ability to ensure that your code is valid Terraform code. It does not mean that your code is going to execute properly, but it does tell you that it's syntactically correct, which is really good. And it tells you we're all good to go. Our configuration is proper, and you can also format it as well. It has a built-in formatter so that we can have consistent code, consistently formatted code amongst all of our code base, which is nice. Neither one of those is a necessity, but they are super helpful. So initialize, write, validate, format, then plan, apply, and we're gonna do that in a second. And it is pretty simple as you kind of go through it. And so this is where these pieces were. I wanted to tell you about where they went in the process before we talked about them, but it exists, but is it right? So there's a CLI tool to help you, and the tool is called Validate. It's Terraform Validate. What happened to my music? Did it die? Oh, they stole my music. Great job. That was really good. Whose idea was that? There's no way you all were just listening to Rick Astley. Mm. My wife is trying to claim. She's claiming right now that that this was not a purposeful Rickroll, that they were listening to Rick Astley, which I do not believe at all. Huh? Okay. All right. Well, he's smart. He Rickrolled me then. Nah, it's all good. It's completely fine. All right. If anyone who doesn't know what just happened, basically, whenever we ask our Google Home to play like in the kitchen and stuff, it will play from my Spotify. I'm playing this music from Spotify right now, and so it went off, and I was like, I don't. Where did my music go? I didn't cut it off. And then when it came back on, I got rickrolled. Okay, it's just I'm being attacked on a Monday. It's all good. It's all good. All right, so now that we've been rickrolled, very exciting. Let's get back to Terraform. So Terraform, it has a validator. We can validate it, and we can also format it and state. Okay, we're gonna go slow here. Okay, state is a very, very important concept. Don't sweat it if you don't really get like if you don't really understand it while we talk about it tonight. We're not gonna spend a ton of time on it tonight. I think you will understand it between when we get hands-on with it shortly and when we do stuff with it on Wednesday. So don't sweat that. But state, this is very important. This is a concept that you're gonna need to understand to properly work with Terraform. So state, like Florida? No, not like Florida. More like Zen, okay? So state is the current form and condition of infrastructure in Terraform, okay? No shot on Florida. It's not like any state, It's any state. But again, it's the current condition, the current form and current condition. The way that it currently is the current state of the infrastructure, okay? State is essential to the functioning of Terraform as it helps us track and manage changes in our infrastructure. State is stored locally by default in a terraform.tf state file. Okay, so I think state overall is a simple concept, but you don't really understand it until you break it, to be honest. But so the way that Terraform knows, remember I said that Terraform will compare how things currently are to how they should be as you described them in your code, and it'll tell you how to get there. State is everything here in Terraform, and so we need to make sure that state is secure. We need to make sure the state is correct. But it takes the state. So whenever it makes some changes, it records the current state and the state that things are supposed to be in. And then it uses that to compare against when you want to make some changes. If, let's say you have a ton of infrastructure, you have a whole bunch of stuff, and for some reason state gets broken, and you go to make some changes or to deploy some things again, it will end up trying to redeploy literally everything, because as far as it's concerned, nothing exists already. As far as it knows, this is my very first time running. I need to, my current state is that nothing is here, and I need to set everything up. So be very careful with that. But yeah, it's just a way of tracking what form and condition the infrastructure is currently in. What state is that infrastructure currently in? And that is all it is. And it saves it in a terraform.tf state file. We will look at those as well. So let's practice. So this is something that we're going to kind of do. We're going to switch this up a little bit, but we're not doing this tonight. We're going to work towards something like this on Wednesday, but it'll be a little bit longer of a mission. But today we're going to go ahead and just show you what all of this looks like. Okay, let's clear this out and let's write our first bit of Terraform. Here we go. Important rule: get ignore TF state. That is, somebody star that somewhere. That really is important. If you are, so your state, again, one of the things I say is that you should keep your state secure. This is not something that you want to deploy to you. It's not something you want to put in version control. There are a number of ways to handle state to make it easier for you to manage. We're going to talk about that as well. We'll talk about some of the intricacies of managing state amongst multiple people, because yeah, it might be super easy to manage state if it's just you deploying, but what if you have, people all around the country who are deploying to the same infrastructure? How do you keep state up to date? How do you make sure people aren't stepping on each other's toes? What do you want to do with that? Yes, Danger. So it's saved locally by default. It's only saved locally by default. You have the option to save it in a bunch of different other places or handle it in different ways. One of the most common ways is through S3 and Dynamodb. You might say, why Dynamodb? Because of state locking. So yes, you can just stick your state in S3 if you want, but you probably, if you're working with multiple people, you probably want state locking. Basically where you don't want multiple people changing the state at a given time. So basically, like a library, you only want one person to be able to check this thing out. So you're using DynamoDB. It'll if someone's modifying state, it'll basically check that thing out, and put a lock in the database so that no one else can do this thing. And once it's complete, it'll free it up, and the next person can do the thing that they need to do. So yeah, locally, it will be fragile if you're dealing with more than one person, or you're working on more than one computer, or it can be very fragile. What if state update isn't propagated to the DB, but is applied to the infrastructure? What do you still sounds super fragile? What if state update isn't propagated to the DB? If it can't be, yeah, it can't happen. I was about to say it can't happen. If it can't be, if the state change can't be applied to the database, it can't. It won't do it. Yep. Yes, I think Terraform is ID impotent. Yep. Is there a way to force a release of a locked remote state? There is. There are ways to force a release of a locked remote state. There are. Yeah, you can if you absolutely need to, but you shouldn't. There's ways to force push over master or whatever. You can do that, but yeah. Yep, Danger, it'll get rolled back. It'll definitely get rolled back. It has to be a two-step process. What if you save the state in the DB and don't actually apply it to the infrastructure? Then either way, one of them will get rolled back. One of them will, whichever one is unable to be changed, the other one will be put into place accordingly. And if there's a lot of little things they have in there in place to do that. And sure, you can say, oh, you can, like, this is with any, like, most things are two-step processes. One of those processes can break. Yeah, it could get you out of whack, but there are ways to also mitigate. There are also ways to get yourself back into a good place if something like that should occur, because it probably will occur to you once or twice, where the listed state is out of whack with what your infrastructure currently has. Notice when I put it in the information in the beginning, it said it helps with configuration drift. It does not resolve it always, but yeah, it happens. It definitely happens. Our team has a lot of headaches collaborating on code infrastructure. It'd be interested to learn more about best practices and strategies. Yeah, Fig Leaf, 100%. One of the best ways, at least for Terraform at least, is super helpful. Lock files are generally a good way for collaborating when you all have the ability to work through these things. I think that the other way is to practice GitOps, Big Leaf. Don't let any singular person have the ability to deploy these things to infrastructure and stuff. Have everything go through the code process, go through the code promotion process, through your version control or source control management process. That is my preferred method to do these things, and have, Circle CI or GitHub Actions or whatever tool you're using, Jenkins, to handle all of it for you. That's the way I would prefer to do it, but yeah. So second billing cycle, so if you always state the description, so you say the description, the issue is that for it to work, it's kind of the same way that Chef or Puppet or Ansible would work, in that it will still ultimately get you to the end result, or can get you to the end result. But because of the way infrastructure works, you likely don't want it to have to reperform operations. So state more so keeps it from having to reperform operations because of the way infrastructure overlaps with each other. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it isn't. I'd be open to the argument that it isn't, but I feel like it is. Yeah. All right, so let's hop in and let's do it. If you change something through AWS console, it detects that. So Terraform will detect it on the next run. It will detect it on the next run. Let's see, Bash shell on Windows. Yes. So this is WSL2, but I'm actually logged into Fedora. I'm logged into a Fedora instance right now. But this is what it looks like. Like, it looks exactly like this. Like, this is Bash on Windows right here. And then I'm just in my Fedora instance now. So let's hop into our very first Terraform file. So we want to use Linode. We want to use a Linode provider. The first thing that we're going to do is create a file. I'm going to call it main.tf. Now, if you're using VS Code, feel free to open it up in VS Code. VS Code has an extension for Terraform. You can absolutely install that and get everything set up there if you want. It'll give you some helpful tips and stuff. But I'm going to modify a main.tf. Now, we've been learning, so CloudFormation uses HTML. I mean, not HTML. Don't rewind that. Don't listen to what I just said. CloudFormation uses JSON or YAML. Okay, YAML. It uses YAML or JSON. It's compatible with JSON. And CDK use any of those runtimes that we talked about: TypeScript, Java, a bunch of C++. Great. This uses HashiCorp configuration language, which is different from all these other things. And you might say, oh no, I got to learn another language. No, you don't have to learn. Well, yes, kinda. But I wouldn't be afraid of this. This is not a programming language. It is a configuration language, and it's actually quite easy. I think it's quite easy to pick up, and I think you'll see it as we kind of go through here. I think it's pretty easy to kind of pick up as you kind of go along. It also provides some pretty cool tools. But so that's what we're going to be writing here. We're going to be writing HashiCorp configuration language. Would you say JSON or YAML is better? They are. So a YAML is just a superset of JSON. YAML is for people to write. It's YAML. This is how I will always tell people. YAML is for us to write. We people write YAML. JSON is for machines to read and to write. It's not for us to write JSON. You can do either one of them, but JSON is your eyes will not parse JSON as easily as they will parse YAML. The way that YAML is set up, it works. It makes a lot more sense for us to write, but they're interoperable. They're compatible. So you can always convert YAML straight to JSON. You can always convert JSON straight to YAML. Does Terraform have some special file names used? As you said, main, does it apply anything special? Main, no, that's a good question. It has special file extensions, Dark Summoner, and we're gonna go through some of those. It does, the name of the file only matters when we're talking about modules and stuff. Right now, it doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want. If the infra doesn't change, then the state doesn't change, correct? If the infra changes, Terraform detects this, and your next applied overwrites the infra based on your code. Yeah, yep. Okay, so here we go. Let's go ahead and start out how we want to do this. So one of the first thing that has to happen in this file is the very first thing that you do is so that Terraform knows how to interact with the tool you want to use. The first thing you're going to do is define a provider. Now, I actually don't think this is a comment. I actually don't know what a comment is in Terraform. I'm assuming it's a hashtag, but I'll probably just remove this after we put it there. But the very first thing we want to do is define a provider. And how would you find a provider? You would go to registry.terraform.io and look through the provider section. And like I said here, we're going to use Linode tonight. And again, if you want to deploy to Linode, I've never deployed to Linode using Terraform. We're doing this, one, because you get free credits below, and two, because I wanted you to have a week where you deploy to two completely different pieces of infrastructure, two completely different platforms, so you could see the differences in working with multiple ones. So I'm gonna check this out. We need to get this installed, and usually right over here on the side, it's gonna say using providers. Okay, actually, so we don't need this. I want to see how. Use provider. Here we go. All right, so this is nice. Use provider. They give you the code right here to the right that you need to use this provider. So if you're still looking for this, take it. And they give you the code right up top that you can use for Terraform 0.13 and up. All right, if you have Terraform below 0.13, it's actually gonna be different. It's gonna be, I think, just this piece, but you're gonna need something else inside of here. But it's gonna look more just like this. They've switched it up to have this Terraform block right here. And I actually think this is gonna be the most confusing piece of all of this. So I'm gonna copy this code. I'm gonna take it right on over here, and I'm gonna paste it right on in here. And now we have some Terraform code right up front. So this looks very JSON-y to you. This should look very JSON-y to you because we've got the little squiggly braces, and we have a little Terraform block here. And inside of Terraform block, we have the required providers. So we could put multiple providers in here if we wanted to. We could have, there's not only one provider to a file, you could have multiple providers in here. I could put more than just Linode in here. But Linode is the required provider, and the source is Linode/Linode. The reason why it knows where this thing is, is because by default, Terraform is set up to pull from this Terraform registry, okay? Like the same way kind of Docker works, this Terraform registry is where all the packages and modules and stuff are going to go by default. You can use your own and you can pull them from other places, but by default, this is configured to pull from this place, and it's located at Linode, and the version that we're using is 1.14.3. So great. And then this just sets up the provider here. You can set up some more provider configuration options in here, but right now I don't think we need to do that. We can check it out. You can use it to set some defaults in there. So maybe I always want stuff to be deployed in a certain region or something like that. You might put those things right here. Maybe you have some credentials you want to use. You may put them right here. We'll talk about how you properly do that, because I think we're going to have to do that in a little bit. Naming conventions would make a mess when you start to work with modules. Yeah, multiple input, output. Yeah. I also, Burning JC, I also keep different providers files as well, but you could put multiple ones in the same one if you needed to. I don't like that. I really don't like that at all. Lightship Captain, welcome to the channel. Good to have you. Selmatic, sorry I missed you. Links. I mean, Cicades, let's go with that. Again, Grindel Ghoul, thank you so much for following. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you. All right, so now we have our first provider configured and set up, okay? So I'm gonna save this. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick our project off and see, what we can do. I'm just going to get out of here and I'm gonna do a Terraform init. I'm gonna start it off right. Let's take a look at what's happening during this Terraform init process. Initializing the backend, okay? So backend is so this is something good to write down. The backend is where your state is handled. It's how your state is handled. So if I wanted my state files to be saved in S3 and Amazon, then my backend I would change the backend to S3. You can look through their documentation. It'll give you the list of configurable backends. Okay, but it says initializing backend. If you do not specify anything outside of what you have here, it will use your local machine as the backend. And again, the backend is simply the place that state is saved at. All right. It says initializing provider plugins. And so it's going to go out and it's going to grab the Linode provider packages and it's going to get all those things downloaded, get all set up, and it's going to get them in the right place for us. And then it gives us some little, more information here, and it gives us a success message to let us know that we've got this stuff all set up correctly and that we're good to go. Okay. All right. So now let's see what we have in this directory now. Let's see what's now in here. So now we have this .terraform folder. So exactly how Git works, when you do a Git init, it sets up a hidden Git directory. The same thing happens here. All of those files that you care about, they're in this .terraform directory, okay? So let's go look in there really quick. So all the provider files and information is in here. And there's actually usually pretty large. Whoa, how deep does this go? There's usually a lot of files in here and there's executables in here. So this is just, a 41 meg executable in there. So you want to add that to a git ignore, to be honest. So let's just do that right now because we are going to push this to GitHub. So I'm going to add this to a git ignore. And I'm going to do star.terraform. All right, to make sure that doesn't get picked up when we do our git inits. Right here, I need to add a star at the end for this as well. But main.tf, so now we have these different files in here. Now we can work with them. This is actually relatively new. This actually, I think, was implemented in 0.13 or 0.14, so you may not have seen this if you're used to older versions of this. But what this will allow you to, this is kind of like a package lock or something like that, where it's going to lock your provider information and stuff down so that you know the specific versions of things. But yeah, you do have that here now. So let's go ahead and let's modify our main TF. Everything's set up, but we actually aren't doing anything with it yet. Provider, all the provider does is allow it to now interact with Linode. It now will understand how to make a request to Linode if we need to use it. So let's get all set up with Linode now. I'm going to look at the documentation, okay? And so it's going to give you information about the Linode provider. So I simply clicked this documentation thing right up top, and it says, hey, this is going to be how you use it, and it's going to give us some example usage here. So just looking at the Linode provider, this is already way more simple. So take a look right now at this over here on the left. All right, y'all see this? Keep an eye on the. Actually, you know what? Just let's take a screenshot of it real quick so we can keep that right here. Look at that. All right, these are all okay. That's kind of good. Okay, if we go back to our providers and go to AWS, remember AWS has almost 200 services nowadays. And when you get over here and you click on AWS and you actually click on the AWS provider here, what I click on to make it actually go here? And you click on documentation. There's so many things in each of these. each of these has so many more things in them, and it gets nuts. So it can be super overwhelming when you're diving into one of these platforms. And that's another reason why we didn't use this specifically tonight, because again, you would have not only had to worry about learning about Terraform, you'd also have to spend time understanding what EC2, all the different pieces of Amazon were, and that's why we're sticking with Linode for the evening. So let's go back to it because it's much more simple, and let's look at the first little example bit of code they give us. We need to configure the Linode provider by adding in a token paradigm inside of the provider information. So obviously, if we're gonna be provisioning infrastructure, if we're gonna be, what's the cloud? We said this is on demand computing resources. So you got to pay for these things. You pay for what you use. So obviously we're gonna have to authenticate with our platform so that, if we're gonna be building things, we need to make sure that we're authorized to do so. You don't want anyone to be able to build on your stuff. So let's figure out how to do this. It says token. That makes me think of API token. Yeah, this is for your Linode version API version 4 token. Perfect. And this is the only required thing, I think, right here. Great. So let's go ahead and let's find our token and let's set that up. Now, here's where we're going to dive into a few more concepts. Actually, I didn't expect to teach you this tonight. I thought I was going to teach you this on Wednesday, but all good. We need this to go. So our configuration options have to go here. So I'm going to put token. And for right now, I'm going to put token equals var dot account. I'll call it var dot linode underscore token just for now as a placeholder. And we'll talk about variables in a second. I'm going to log into my Linode account and let me go ahead and do that. I have used a Linode token before. So let's see what's in here. Log in. Let's see what we have. I think I revoked one earlier. I think the way that you get it, I think you click your name up here. Yeah, API tokens. Okay, I'm not gonna show you my API token. All right, because don't give me one of your API tokens. No, I'm not. Yeah, yes. Burning JC, thanks for the heads up. I'm not going to. So if I click create a personal, I'm just showing you how to do it. You click create a personal token, and what you do is you can give it a label. So call it whatever you want. So I can call this stream token. Okay. Stream token. And then you wanna pick what it has access to. Okay. You could select, read and write for everything. So these are all the different things you can do in Linode. Tonight, I don't know if you can update these after you already have them set, but all I'm gonna do to start is I'm going to give it no access to anything just in case I accidentally leak it or something. And I'm going to say only give me access to read and write Linodes, okay? Just Linodes. And so those are the VPSs, those are just the servers. And so we're going to work with those first, and then we can upgrade from there as we get a little bit farther along tonight. So I'm going to create a token, but I think when you create a token, it pops up right on screen. So I'm going to get off of this. I'm gonna get off of this. Let me show you everything that I'm gonna do first. Okay, I'm gonna create the API token. It's gonna show it to you once. I think it only shows it to you one time. So be careful with it because you have to create a new one if you don't copy and paste it. Here's what we're gonna do. Normally, if we had a token, our token is gonna be some long string like this. All right, it's gonna look something like this, most likely. All right, we don't want to put our credentials directly here in the code. That is a bad idea. You should not put your password. You wouldn't put your password in here, would you? So you don't want to put this here. Now, there's a number of ways to handle this. There's a lot of ways to handle it. The simplest way of right now is to use environment variables. If you're unfamiliar with this, an environment variable is a system variable that you can use as a placeholder for some data. So I can basically set up an environment variable that holds this value, so that instead of having to type this in, I can refer to whatever I called it. I can call it Linode token, and whenever I refer to Linode token, it will basically fill in this value, but you will not be able to see this thing, and it's super helpful. The way that it works is you do var to say you want to access the variables, and call it whatever you plan on calling the variable. We haven't set up the variable yet, but let's call it what we want to call it. So I'm going to call it Linode underscore token. Okay. I spelled that wrong. Linode token is going to be the name of the variable that I have here. Okay. there are like 3 or 4 different ways to specify variables. We will talk about all the other ways to specify variables on Wednesday, but today we're going to talk about how to specify environment variables. And so I'm going to save this file. Okay. Actually, Q. What's up, XIP? Welcome to the channel. What's up, Unstoppable Codes? Welcome. Son, good to have you. Lightship Capital, welcome. Selmatic, I think I already got you last time. Welcome to the channel, everyone. Good to have you here. Just doing a little bit of learning. All right, so we have saved this file. Let me make sure I saved it right. So now I want to set up an environment variable. An environment variable will look like this. I could so if I do something like this, echo $shell in all caps, this comes back with a value. Why? Because this is a paradigm of Linux that's going to set my default shell. My current default shell is ZSH. And so this works right here, and it spits it out. We can set up a Linode account password thing here, a Linode key or whatever I called it. Actually, let me see what did I call it? Linode token. We set up Linode token. But for environment variables, the paradigm in which Terraform uses to be able to access this is I'm going to type in export, which is going to set up this environment variable for my whole session here. And if you prefix it, prefix it with TF underscore VAR. So TF underscore var underscore. If you prefix the name of the variable with this, then Terraform will pick it up by default, okay? And so we called it Linode underscore token. All right, and we'll do an equal sign, and we'll put the value of our token on this side of the equal sign, okay? If you prefix it with TF underscore var underscore, Linode will pick this up automatically for you. So what I'm gonna do is now, because I don't want you to see my key, I'm gonna go back to the screen. I'm going to click the create token so I can get my token. I'm gonna paste it. I bit my cheek. Ow. I'm gonna paste it in there, and then I'm gonna hit enter, okay? And then I will come back to the screen so that you can't see me anymore. I don't want you to see it, but that's what I'm gonna do. So click create token, get your token. No one's looking at you, so you can get your token. And then go back to your terminal and type in export TF underscore var underscore, and then whatever you'd like to call that variable. I call mine Linode underscore token. You can do the same thing. And paste it in there, and then you're gonna be good to go, okay? So I'm gonna go, let me go over here so that you can't see it. Create my little token over here and copy in my token right now. Going back to my terminal, pasted it in there. I'm gonna clear it so that you all can't see it. And now I'm going to let me make sure it's not on screen anymore. Okay. Let's come on back. Correct. Yes. If the token has special characters, make sure that you can use quotes around it to make sure things are good to go. That's actually a really great, it's a really good tip right there. All right. So now that I have this in here, my vim.main.tf, this is how I can access it. So whatever you called your variable after the TF underscore var, whatever you called it after that, that is what you can type here. So this will access that environment variable, okay? So that will set up my provider. Now, when Terraform runs, it will now be able to authenticate with Linode. All right. And so let's go ahead and figure out how we write code to be able to spin up some infrastructure here. How do we actually spin up a VPS? How do we spin up a server here? Let's check that out. Unstoppable Codes. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we're using a tool called Terraform. Terraform allows you to provision cloud infrastructure using code, and the coding language is called HCL. It's HashiCorp configuration language. I highly recommend you check out Terraform. Very, very popular. You can make a lot of money using it. But it's more of a configuration rather than code. Where is the token stored in the Terraform application? So it's not stored in the Terraform application. It is stored in an environment variable. So right now it is saved to my Linux desktop session right now. It is saved in the session of my computer right now. The way that it'll pick it up is it will, when I actually run this, when I actually run the code, it will pick it up real time at runtime. It will basically access the system information and grab it straight from the system. Environment variables are a very common way of configuring credentials and things on systems as you're doing DevOps SRE things. Very common way. All right, so now let's go ahead and write the code to be able to get us a resource. So resources are everything. Resources are what you want to be provisioned. And so now we're going to write the code for that. And so they give us a little example here. The HashiCorp configuration way of doing this is the word resource kicks off a resource block. So you write a resource block to be able to grab a resource. It's the resource that you want. It is basically the class of the resource, or what you need to know what it's called, what the resource is identified as in the provider. So the resource we want is a Linode instance. The provider documentation will tell you that. So over here, if I want to get a domain from Linode, I can get a domain using the Linode domain piece here, and it gives me some example code if I want to basically purchase a domain from them. If I want to set up some DNS records, I can use the Linode domain record and be able to set up some domain records using these resources. If I want an image, an instance. So instance is what we want now. That's the only thing we're going to have access to for now. So we want an instance. We want to provision a brand new a Linode instance here. And here we can do that. And so they give us an example of what this looks like. And so this is a resource block. And it has a bunch of parameters. It has a bunch of inputs. It has a bunch of options that you can use inside of it. And you might say, oh, how do I know what I need to use? How do I know what's in here? The way that you know what you need to use is there's below, it's going to tell you what each of the arguments are and if they're required or not. You only have to put in things that are required. And I think all the required stuff is going to be at the top. Everything else is optional. And that's up to you to know what you need to configure, okay? And the good thing about it is you can change it later. That's one of the best parts of Terraform. What's up, Exegete? Good to see you. So let's go ahead and let's only do what is necessary here, okay? So we need this resource block. Let's grab the whole resource block here. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna delete, actually, yeah, let's take all of it and then let's break it down to what we need. All right, so I'm gonna take the resource block. I'm gonna paste it. That did not paste how I thought it was gonna paste. All right, so now we have this resource block, and this is Terraform. This is what it looks like. And let's take it down. I'm actually gonna delete everything on the inside, actually. So let's go down to here. Let's get all that. So we have our little resource block here. The first thing, again, is the class of things you're going to be building. And then this little name right here, this is an identifier, but it's an identifier of this resource, but only in Terraform. This doesn't go anywhere else. So it's the way that Terraform is looking at this thing. So I'm going to change this to something different. I'm going to change it to instance 1 or something like that. I'll change it to instance 1. Great. And then now inside of the block, we're going to pass in our arguments to make sure we have the information that we need, because right now it won't work if I don't have all the required things. So we go down. The only two required things are the region. So it must be US East, US West, AP South, or whatever. You can see all the regions here. So open that up. And then the type, I need to give it my type as well. So this is basically where it's going to be and the size of the instance. We got to tell it how big we want and where it's going to be, and it will give us what we want. And so we can see all our types here. All right, so let's go region first. So go in here and I'm going to type in region. Okay. And region is going to equal, well, they said we had options to US East. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. So I'm going to say US East. We can look at all the regions and see all the things that they have here. CA Central, AP Southeast. So they got, they got stuff all over the world as well. But we're going to take US East because that is where we are. So US East, I don't know if it needs to be a string like that, but we'll see. We'll see in a second. I don't think it does. But cool, US East. And then the other thing was type, I think it said it was. And it's got a bunch of different types here. I'm just gonna grab this G6 standard 2. I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure it is a standard server. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what this is though. But this is the one I'm gonna use for now. You can look at that list to see. So this is specifying the size of instance and where it is gonna be. So right now, I just wrote code. Remember, I said the code that you're writing is declaring what you want to provision. So right now, I'm saying, hey, all right, Linode, I want to work with Linode all up here, and I'm now setting up Linode. I'm authenticating with Linode here, and then I'm saying, all right, Linode, I want a Linode instance that you can refer to as instance type 1, and I want it in the US East region, and I want it to be the type of G6 standard 2. Okay, there we go. So he's allergic to the nanode. I am allergic to the nanode. Definitely allergic to the nanode. F, looks good on my end. It's all right on my end for now. Definitely let me know. Definitely let me know if we're dying over here. Surprisingly, my Comcast business class internet has been keeping up. You know, they just make you pay more for the same speeds, but it does seem to be much more reliable. Definitely seems to be much more reliable. Give it a refresh, Sully. Well, you probably can't hear me if you think we're broken. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. What we're gonna do is image. So yes, Burning JC. Yes, I assume that makes sense. I would assume that we need an image as well. But it has a divider here. So let's actually see what else is required. I don't see anything else as, here we go. Let's 11 required on here. As for disks, label, region and type. That's very interesting. I actually wonder what it comes up with if we don't put anything in there. Very, very interesting. What they had an image here. I'm gonna take their image. Actually, first let's see what happens if we don't put an image. I really just want to see, and then we should put this in there if we should put this in there. If so, no, I saw image, but it didn't show image as required, did it? Yeah, all these are optional. That seems very interesting. So it must default to something automatically, but let's go through the process. Let's see what happens when we run this. And so, yes, in City, you see here, possibly bad documentation. Why is it possibly bad documentation? Well, the Linode provider is not it's not one of the like officially supported ones. This is a community package. It's one that Linode probably wrote themselves and maintains. And so it's not one of them. I forgot it's not verified. It's not a verified provider. So the information here might be outdated. It might be wrong altogether. So we'll see what happens here. The AWS one will definitely be much more standard, but let's see what happens. I'm very interested to see what happens when we deploy this. So I'm gonna save this. All right, the workflow. We already did a git init. I mean, not a git init. We did a Terraform init. So I could run it again. It doesn't hurt to run it again. It doesn't hurt to run it again. Okay, it won't mess up anything. Now I can do a Terraform validate. I want to make sure this is valid code. So Terraform validate is how we want to do that. Oh, it is verified? Oh, wow. Let me just be crappy. I didn't think it was verified. Let's check that out. So right now we already have a problem. Reference on line 13, it says, hey, you try to declare an input variable, but you didn't use it. So I missed one step here. What happened is it tried to determine if my code was correct. It sees here that I'm trying to use a variable, but it doesn't know about any variables. Variables are actually something that you have to declare like if you want to use one, you got to declare it. So I just got to set up a variable type. So you set up a variable block. And so I could just set up something like this. This is valid, okay? So I could put it back up here. This is valid. Whoops. I gotta give it the name. So variable Linode _ token, okay? Is what we want. The same way we're learning in Go, this is written in Go, the same way that you have to declare a variable and then you can assign it a value. You can do them in one line if you want, but a variable needs to be declared for you to assign a value to it and to be used. Same thing needs to happen here. And so I'm saying, hey, I'm setting up a space for this Linode token variable and I'm using it right here. So let's get out of here. Let's do another validate. And now we have successful, we've now validated that this is at the very least, syntactically correct. We don't know if it'll work, but it is syntactically correct. So now we initialized it. We wrote our code. We've validated it. Now we can do a format and take a look at something. I really like this. This is something that everyone should do. I want you to notice where these two equal signs are and where these two equal signs are right here. The validate is really, really nice because what it'll do is actually I'll leave, if I do a Terraform, actually, no, this might mess up if I do that. Let's FG, let's actually get out of here. And if I do Terraform format or Terraform fumped and hit enter, if it made any changes to any of the files, it will tell you which files it did. If it didn't change any files, then it won't give you any output. But Terraform fumped, okay? And now if we go back and look at that file, look at this. It lines up the equals. So all it does is it puts a standard amount of spaces and all the other stuff in there, which is super helpful. Same way that Go does it. It may not be the way that you would format it, but it's a consistent formatting, and that's very valuable. It made it really nice. It made it super easy to see. It makes it much more easy for your eyes to parse. You know, you can feel good about it. So initialized it, wrote our code. We verified that it was correct or validated it, and then we formatted it. And now we can do a plan, okay? So Terraform Plan. Now, you don't actually need to run this Terraform Plan anymore, but I want to be very explicit about it. It's still available to you. I have to imagine that one day it's going to go away. Well, maybe not. But Terraform Plan. This is the thing that, you know, figures out what needs to happen to get it from the current state to where you described where you want it to be, where you declared where you want it to be. So take a look at this beautiful, gorgeous plan right here. I love this so much. It's amazing. So an execution plan has been generated and it is shown below. All right, so an execution plan, that's what this plan is. What I have to execute to make this thing happen. The pluses right here are things that are gonna be created. Okay, so Terraform will perform the following actions. Linode instance 1 will be created. And so this is just an internal dialogue here. It's an internal way of this thing referencing this resource in its own state. And it's letting me know that all this stuff will be created. All right, so all these things are gonna get created as a part of the process. The way that it knows that is because of the resource that the provider that we used. So when we create a Linode instance, all this stuff is going to be set up. We don't have to specify any of it. It'll get provisioned, and this information can become available to us after we apply this thing. And what it tells, so anytime you see the pluses, that means things are going to be added. If you see a red minus or just a minus, it might not be colored on your screen. That means something's going to be deleted. And if you see a little squiggly line, a little squiggly tilde, a little orange squiggly tilde, it means something is going to be changed. Okay, we're going to see some of those shortly, but we can actually save this to a file if we wanted to, but we don't need to do that right now. So if you take a look at the plan, you should always run the plan to make sure things are good to go. Make sure that everything that you expected to change is going to be changing. You want to make sure nothing you thought of was going to be deleted. Like, you want to make sure that nothing's going to happen that you weren't expecting to happen. Once you have planned it out, once you're comfortable with that plan, you can do a Terraform apply. This is how you actually run your code. Now, apply will actually run a plan first, okay? It didn't used to do this, but it will actually run a plan first. So if you just run apply, it'll run the plan, it'll spit it out to you, then it'll ask you if you would like to actually apply it. And yes, we want to go ahead and we want to apply this thing. And it'll kick off and it'll go start to create and to provision our instance. So if we go over to the console for Linode and I refresh this, I didn't give it a name, so it must be this. It's offline. Linode 24. Okay, so this is what they created, I guess. And it's offline. I wonder if it's going to start, but it's still creating, so we'll give it some time. Very interesting. So I want you to be thinking about right now. Notice how I didn't know what the instance was called. You know, I'm not, you know, it seems kind of weird on what's happening. You know, I didn't know what it's called. So these are things that you might want to configure later on. These are things that you might want to add into your configuration so that you know what it is. You gave yours a label. So this is very interesting. I'm actually I'm very interested to see. I have an inkling about something. I haven't. This is gonna fail. I think it's gonna fail. I have no idea if it's gonna fail. It feels like this is gonna fail, and I think it's good. I'll tell you why I think it's gonna fail if it fails. If it doesn't fail, I'm gonna keep my words to myself. Well, let's see. You know. Sin City. I did not make a password for the instance because I only looked at what was required. Just for now, I only looked at what was required. Was a password required, root pass optional. Changing root pass forces a creation. Okay, I'll tell you what I have 3 theories now. Let's see if it fails or not. If it takes this long, it's usually gonna fail. It usually doesn't take this long. The tingling suspicion is called experience. It is. It definitely is. So I don't think this is going to spin up properly. The reason why is one, I wonder what because we didn't have to provide a base image, I wonder if this created some kind of placeholder for a VM, but like it actually doesn't know what to use. I'm wondering if it doesn't like know, like it's able to start the creation of a process, it's able to start setting this thing up, but because like I haven't given it a base image to use, it has no idea what to do with this. Is my thoughts. Okay, just an empty VM with no OS. That's what I'm thinking. Sin City, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it made a VM for us, but there's no operating system on it. That is I agree. Burning JC, I agree it should be required. This is your first lesson, and the documentation isn't always going to save you. Okay, we followed the docs. It tells us these things were optional. Okay, now I'm going to let it go. I want to see if it ever times out. I think it has a 5-minute timeout. I think I could be making that up, but let's see what that does. I could stop it, but then my state's gonna be in a weird place. Even though we just started this, I could delete it. Ooh, timeout 10 minutes. Okay, I'm stopping this. All right. So now that this started, I have this terraform.tf state file. This file doesn't get here until you spin this thing up. Now I'm not gonna look at the TF state file because I think the TF state file might show my API key. Not 100% sure, but it'll basically have I think it's in JSON. I think it'll have a listing of the state. It'll have all the things set up and what the values and things are, which is great. Right now, this is not important. If this is a 10-minute timeout, I would say stop it because I don't think this is going to complete successfully. Okay, it's going to keep trying. I don't think it's going to complete successfully. I'm going to power this. I'm going to delete this thing right now. I'm going to delete it. I'm also going to delete this terraform.tf state file. There are other ways to mitigate this. Doesn't really matter. This is our first setup. We just delete it. So rm-rf terraform.tf state. I'm just going to remove it for now, and we're starting fresh with our main.tf is still here. We're starting fresh. Now, again, my suspicion was that the base image was the problem. Let's add an image. Let's also add a label. Let's also add a password so that we can actually log in. We want to be able to log into this instance. So let's set up those 3 things. I think a label, and we'll look through and see if there's anything else. A label, someone brought that up, that makes sense. A label, a password, and a base image. And let's see if that changes things. Okay, so let's look back at our documentation. That is really weird. So everyone, right now is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to go contribute to an open source project. All right, we now can see that there's something that we feel like should be required, or at least some documentation about it should be put in here. You can go directly to this provider page in GitHub, and you can submit a PR. These are the kind of things when people are telling you, hey, start by fixing documentation to get started in open source. This is exactly what you could do. All right, so let's look at this. Let's add a label. Let's add an image. And what was the last thing we said? And a root password. Okay, so let's add these 2 first. All right, label. We'll call this We'll call this pipelines. Pipelines Terraform day 1. All right, and I'm not even gonna look at the list of different images. I'm gonna assume that I can change this to 20.04, whatever, 18.04 works too. And the last thing we're gonna do is their root password. I think was an option as well. So let's add a root password really quick. And so, whoops. What in the world? That is weird. I actually don't know what's happening here, but it's fine. I'm hitting, whoa. Oh, it's doing the thing again. Hold on. It's doing the weird computer thing again. Okay, there we go. I hope. No, it's not. Something weird is going on. Okay, whatever. All right, I'll do this. And what did it just say? Whoa. Root. Is it underscore pass? Root underscore password. Root underscore password and equals, again, I'm not gonna type in a root password here, but we can utilize the same thing that we did up on line 15. We can utilize that right here. So I can say var dot, and we can call this Linode password. Yeah. Let's call it Linode password, and let's go right to the top, and let's create a space for a new variable to be used. Yank it, paste it, Linode token. Instead of Linode token, we're gonna do Linode password. Okay, so now we got a lot more stuff in here. We have a label, an image, a region, a type, a root password. All right, so let me actually set up my root password. The same way that we did the last export, I'm gonna do export tf underscore var underscore Linode underscore password. So this is gonna set up a Linode password. I'm gonna go off of this again because I don't want you to be able to log in as soon as it's up. Not a big deal. I can delete the instance later, but I don't want you to be able to log in. So go off of here and let's go ahead and set up a simple password here. What was that? Hold on. I typed that in wrong and then it did some weird thing. TF bar underscore Linode underscore password. Password. All right, let's try that one. Okay, clear the screen. Now we are back. What's up, Lightship Central? Good to have you. Welcome to the channel. Oh, that was a long time ago. Sorry. Call me Stray. Welcome to the channel. Big Black Steel, welcome as well. It's me, Easy E. Good to have you. What's up, Kumakine? Tom Eastham. Who else we got? Thu. Welcome, Prime Pro. Welcome, Mr. Narwhal. Good to have you, Majestic Mac. Welcome to the channel. No, it's just pass 1-2. Password 1-2 is the ultimate password. Password 1, everyone expects that. Password 1, 2, 3, everyone expects that. No one ever can ever guess password 1, 2. Does format sort the attributes? I don't think it sorts the attributes. No, but we can check really quick. So I'm gonna do Terraform validate first. Make sure we have some valid credentials here. It's valid. Let's do Terraform bumped, and we can check. I'm pretty sure it just, yeah, it didn't change them up at all in here. Kept them the same, just, made the equal signs all equal there. Very helpful. All right, so Terraform Plan, which should be all additions. Why should it be all additions? Oh, because we're creating this from scratch. And then Terraform apply. And that looks good to me. So now let's see. Now I don't know. This may still be broken. We may be missing something else, but I think this will help. I hope this will help. And actually, no, we did get this before. No, this didn't come through before. These pending actions, I don't think ever came up. But okay, let's just see. Let's see what we got going on here. We don't gotta rush it. We don't gotta rush it at all. Just let it do its thing. Let it get created. And so what's really nice about this is if you were doing a bunch of stuff all at once, it would go through and it would be able to kind of kick off these things really easily for you. Oh, look at that. Running. That was our one of those was our problem. Most likely the image. I can almost guarantee it was the image. Okay, and so now it's done. Look at that. 1 added, 0 changed, 0 destroyed. Okay, perfect. That, you know, we got it up, we got it running. Okay, so now our TF state is good to go. So now that we have a state, let's take a look at let's make a change really quick, and then I'll show you how to delete stuff, and then we can get out of here. This will be super fast. So it's up. Let's make sure we can log into it really quick just to make sure things are right. So this is the IP address right here. So I'm gonna hop into a different terminal, and I'm gonna do SSH root at, paste this in. I'm gonna paste in my password. That was not my password right there. We're in. We are in. Excellent. Phenomenal. We made it into that system. It works. It's up. It's available. We can do some cool, we can do whatever we want with it now. It's a system that we can use. Great. But let's go ahead and show you what a change looks like. Let's say, I don't like the way that we identified this at all. You know, I don't really like that. So let's change the name from Pipelines Terraform Day 1 to the best server ever. Because maybe that's how we want to identify it, okay? All right, let's do that. And if we do a Terraform plan, let's take a look at this. So this is a whole, you've never seen this before. You've never seen what this looks like yet. We get this execution plan, and the little tildes denote things that can be updated in place. It's very important for you to understand what needs, what things can be updated in place, or not necessarily know exactly what needs, what works this way, but you do need to understand the differences between the two, and you need to be wary of it as you're building out your stuff. The thing that I changed can be updated in place. So the thing that's going to be changed is this resource right here, and the specific thing that's going to be changed is the label, and it's going to go from this to this. Okay, cool. 0 things are added, 0 things are destroyed, 1 thing is changed. Okay, keep an eye on that. So I'll go ahead and do that real quick. I'll apply this. I will apply this because it should be pretty fast. Okay, look how fast that was. 1 thing changed, and if we go back in here and we give it a little refresh, we now have the best server ever. Same server, new label. Okay, so some things can be changed in place. Only some things can be. If we try to do something like this though, if we try to change up on our something like maybe the underlying image, okay, if we try to change that right there and we plan that out, look how this look how different this looks. Okay, look, luckily it tells you what's going to happen, but this will do a replacement of the instance. So it can't, this is not something that can be updated in place. It will replace the entire instance. Okay, so if you go down here, you're not changing, you made 1 small change, but that's not what's going to be happening here. You are going to destroy what's currently there, and you are going to add another one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to apply this so that you can see kind of what happens. Different providers handle this differently. Okay, some of them will delete first and then recreate the new one. Some of them will create the new one, then delete first. But it's still up to you to understand that and to know what's going on there and what changes are going to delete things and which ones are not, because that's going to affect the uptime of your application. And there are ways to work around this. There are ways to make this a comfortable process. But you need to understand that some things that are changed are going to mean you have to destroy stuff. So it looks like it destroyed first and destroyed very quickly, and now it's recreating with a new underlying operating system. Do you ever use auto approve or avoid it? I avoid it personally because I make a lot of mistakes. I make tons of mistakes, so I do not. I use a lot of production. You do what you got to do. Definitely do what you got to do. I think I've developed a habit for it, but well, so auto approve, yeah. If you're putting it through a CI process and you're doing it right, I think it's okay. I think it makes sense in a CI process because the confirmation of things is usually done elsewhere, and there's another number of checks in front of it. If you're workflow is proper, but yeah, I don't ever use it personally, like on my own stuff. So at a high level, Terraform just lets us set up servers through JSON scripts. Gromit, I want you to, it's not just, so at a high level, yes. But it's not just servers. It is whatever resources. We're talking about the configuration of networks. We're talking about storage. We're talking about everything that you can do basically in AWS. SQs, whatever service you want to use, it allows you to be able to provision and create and configure those services how you need them to be configured via, it's not JSON script, it's through HCL, but yeah, essentially, yes. Yeah. Destroying is usually quicker and easier than creating. That is true. Definitely true right there. Do you cover lifecycle, create before destroy? So we will cover Anthony Wright's code. Yes, we will cover that we'll definitely cover that on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a much more in-depth flow into Terraform. Like today was just to like get you introduced to it, let your brain kind of, feel it out a little bit. We will provision for 2.5 hours, two and a half straight hours on Wednesday. We're going to go through a whole little scenario, and we will make changes. We'll add specific things where we'll have to hit up the docs and figure out what the heck is going on. We'll put ourselves into some weird situations as well. So that's what we will be doing on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have that in there as something to that goes into what we have to do. Thanks for the Terraform primer. Yeah, dope. That's the goal here. Like I said, we have a whole Terraform excursion, which is a 6-part, I think it's a 6 or 8-part series that's Terraform only, but this is your Terraform week here, 2-parter here. So you're just gonna, just to get you to understand what it is and to let yourself have touched it a few times will be helpful when you're trying to interview. Yeah. Oh, Wednesday we're using AWS. Yep, AWS on Wednesday, Brandon JC. So if you want to go through that whole process and you don't already have an AWS account set up, please go through and set up an AWS account. It won't cost you any money, but you do have to put in a credit card. We're only going to use free tier services, but you do have to put in a credit card. So if you want to follow along in the same way, definitely do that. But I think you can also, if you're uncomfortable doing that, it's completely okay. I think you can still understand the concepts of what we're doing, even if you never deploy yourself. But yeah. So can Terraform be a replacement for doing stuff in AWS CLI? Yeah, it can. I mean, I use them in conjunction. I don't think you have, like, AWS CLI provides you some good way for getting information that I think would be a little bit more annoying to get via Terraform. And yeah, I mean, but yes, it can replace almost everything that you would do with AWS CLI. Should it replace all of it? I don't think so, but you could. Private Terraform Registry with Artifactory, you could definitely do that for sure. It feels easier to provision stuff through Terraform compared to doing it through the GUI. So Big Leaf, I actually agree with you. I agree. I 100% agree. I really do prefer to do things via Terraform, but things can get complicated when your setup is larger and larger, when you have different environments and stuff. And so that's what we're gonna learn on Wednesday. We're gonna learn how to work with multiple environments and how to, different ways to manage our variables and our secrets, and learn a little bit more about the actual workflow and what happens when you make some of these changes. Yeah, I query with AWS CLI provision with Terraform. That's exactly what I do. Anthony Wright's code. Same thing. Like you can't do an S3LS, but so why you can't do an S3LS, you could, if all of your buckets are provisioned with Terraform, then you could ensure that you had outputs, and you could look through your outputs. You could look at your outputs to see what everything is there. So yeah, 100%. Does Terraform dip into Kubernetes as well? Yes, Terraform absolutely can manage Kubernetes clusters. Yes, it can. Now, I don't know the full extent of what it does, but it manages it. I know people who use it to do all their Kubernetes stuff. So there is a Kubernetes provider. Let's go back over here. Yeah, there is a Kubernetes provider, and if you hop in here, you can see Elastic Container Service, so Terraform AWS modules for EKS, and this will allow you to do a bunch of stuff as well. It's a whole modules package that gives you tools and stuff, and functions and stuff to be able to do some cool stuff inside of EKS. But yeah, you can absolutely manage your EKS cluster or Kubernetes cluster wherever using this as well. But cool, that's it. So tangible takeaways for this evening. All you really need to really focus on this evening is that we learned that you can now provision web resources and manage them using infrastructure as code. So you write machine readable definition files, and these applications and tools will take care of it for you and be able to give you these tangible assets for things to run on. We learned about Terraform, and that Terraform is run by a company called HashiCorp, and that it's a provisioner. It provisions that infrastructure, it builds it up for you. And we learned there might be some other different types, like configuration management tools like Ansible, which we will learn next week. And we learned about the basic Terraform workflow, which is to initialize the repository, doing validating that your stuff is correct, formatting it to make it consistent, planning it out and applying it. That's great. We saw that what happens when you change things. Some changes can be done in place. Some things need to be completely replaced. And we learned about providers, which allow Terraform to work with products and services, and that there are many different platforms and services and things that it can work with. Pending there's a provider for it, you can write your own provider for whatever you want to write, for whatever you want it to work for. And a lot of these are, they're all open sources. They're available for you to see and to contribute to if you need to do it. But yeah, that's just about everything. Does Ansible or Puppet not allow multi-platform configuration? G. Billingsley, yes, they do. But they are different types of tools. While they do have some functionality for infrastructure provisioning, it is fairly basic, and that is not what they are meant for. And the way they handle them is actually kind of weird, but they are designed to take over. Really, once this server is up, Ansible and Puppet, they'll work on any system. As long any Linux system, any Windows system as well, and they will configure all the things that you need. So getting it updated, making sure certain packages are installed. Maybe we want a web server, so we must have a certain version of Nginx installed. We want our Nginx configuration at this location. We want this many users on here at when it's provisioned. Ansible, Puppet, Chef, those configuration management tools will handle all that for us, and they will work on any of the providers because they work on Linux or Windows. Using modules is definitely my weak point. We're gonna dive into modules on Wednesday. I definitely understand. I agree. The paradigm of modules, using other people's modules, is I'm better at creating my own modules than comfortably using other people's modules, which is kind of weird. But yeah, we'll go over that. We definitely know we're gonna use a module next time. We won't dive super deep into it, but we will use one. Collaboration still feels awkward because you need to review what gets added and destroyed by running a plan locally. No, you don't need to run it locally. You wouldn't be able to verify. Yes, you would, Fig Leaf. You can, you would. You can pipe these plans to output files. There's a number of ways to determine these things. What you can also do is you can pipe these things out locally, and you can have your CI process confirm that the plan, when people push certain things, matches what's supposed to happen. There's a number of ways to work with it through CI pipeline. It's actually really good for working through a CI pipeline with. So spin up things with Terraform to manage them with Ansible. Yes, that is the general. Yes, that is the general workflow, for sure. Terra Ansible. So I'm on a different, if possible, I'm on a different wavelength for that. I actually don't prefer to use tools like Ansible or Puppet. I prefer to use instead tools like, let's go back to HashiCorp real quick. I prefer to use tools like Packer. And instead of setting up everything I want at runtime, I prefer to set things up at build time. So I'd rather build an image with all the things that I need, and then deploy that thing with setting it as an image when I use Terraform. That is my preferred way of doing things. And if you need to make a change, if you need to add new software, if you need to modify where things are at, then you need to rebuild that image and redeploy it. That is my preferred method for things. I like build time, configuration, not runtime, but there's space for both of them. It definitely has its there's definitely pros and cons to that. That's just my preferred way. I usually, I mean, I don't have any money right now, but maybe later, maybe another day, maybe another day later on when I have some money. Sorry for asking a basic question. No, there are no basic. Don't ever be sorry for asking any question at all. I'm incredibly sorry for asking this. Short description for Terraform. Oh yeah. So Terraform is to automate the provisioning of infrastructure. So let's say you worked at a company and you needed to be able to like automate the configuration of an environment. So maybe your software, maybe it needs to run, maybe it needs a web server, maybe it needs a database, it needs a certain type of network. It also needs like a persistent storage device. We could manually go in and configure all these things and create these things and pay for them and do all that stuff. What this allows you to do is to be able to write it via code, and anytime you need to use it, it allows you to be able to very quickly be able to spin these things up, configure it how you want them to be configured. It also allows you to spin them down or destroy them. That's something we didn't do. I'm sorry about that. We can destroy everything that we created with a Terraform destroy. And so it's really nice. It can save you a lot of money. Let's say you're learning, and you're using a tool and you don't always need it, and you can spin it up and work on it while you need it. But when you don't need it, you can quickly spin it down. That server, that system, I can literally type in this command and have it right back to where it was just now. But that may not seem cool now because I only did one little thing, but imagine you have hundreds of resources. Imagine you have hundreds of different things that need to work together to be able to make an application work. This allows you to do it. And not only does it allow you to provision it, it allows you to manage it. If I need to make small changes, it helps you keep track of what's going on and how things are supposed to be set up. And it helps you make changes to them very, very easily. Does Terraform status files get committed to VCS? You should. Yes, that is one of the biggest reasons why you would want to use it as well, is because now you can utilize your infrastructure the same way. You can manage your infrastructure the same way that you manage your code base. So yes, you upload this to Git. You can make a Git repository out of this. You can send it through a CI pipeline. All of that, 100%, 100%. You will put it into Git or whatever your VCS program is. So this tool lets us have web pages where customer enters their name, credit card, and some basic info. Then the app gets created automatically and they can start using it. Well, so this more so builds the infrastructure that web application would run on. Yeah, you, depending on how you built the underlying stuff, it could just deploy that application, but it more so builds the application that it more so builds the infrastructure that an application like that would run on. Again, I think it'll make a lot more sense when we're doing it on Wednesday, when we actually get something onto the system. But yeah, you can also delete the resource definition file in TF and rerun the apply if that floats your boat. Yes, that is true. I could have instead commented out everything that was in there or deleted it and done that if I wanted to. Heard of Artesian or Artisan? Is that Artisan or Artesian builds? Custom PC builder. Stream almost 24/7. They're building big streamer desktops. I'll be having a $25,000 build done. A $25,000. First off, please share that. That's crazy. Yeah. Can it run Crisis? Can it run Crisis? Because my computer can't run Crisis. See now, Sully. Now you're gonna make me have to. How many 3090s is that? Huh? It's got to be at least 4. It's got to be 4. You got 4 3090s in there. What do you have? What could that be? Oh, you must have a you got to have a Threadripper 3990X. Got to be a 3990X. Got to be 4 3090s in there. Has to be. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. All right. Well, now I guess I need to go and build a $26,000 computer because I'm competitive and I gotta win. I gotta win and be poor. I have a baby on the way, and my baby won't be able to eat, but we'll be warm because we'll have Another 3990X. Woo. Yeah, 43090s. Okay, at least I'm proud of myself for calling both of those things. 2 power supplies makes sense. 222 terabyte PCI. Okay, that's pretty nuts. Rack mounted. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Baby watch is going well. Baby watch is going well. Also, just to throw it out there, we are actually going to have our baby shower on here. We got people kept asking us, like people were like, "Oh, you gotta have baby shower, you gotta have baby shower," but can't meet up with people because I get it. It's a pandemic. We're cool. We're chilling. We're chilling. It's no big deal. But everyone says, the first baby gotta have baby showers, all that stuff. So we are putting on a show for you all. Okay, this is our very first child. We're putting on a show. We're gonna do a show where we go through all of the old wives' tales. Where people use to figure out what the gender of a baby is. Some people say, oh, carrying low, it's a boy, and carrying high, it's a girl. If it's a football, it's a boy, and basketball, it's a girl. All those different things. We're gonna go through those, and we're gonna share pictures. We're gonna give you information. We're gonna basically have people guess. We're gonna tally up votes throughout the whole time, and we're gonna do gender reveal at the end of it. So if you ever want to come through, it's on the 28th. There's gonna be a bunch of people in there, I think, but it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. I didn't have a baby shower for my first baby. Wanted to go at it alone. I get it. I definitely get it. F that on the second baby. That's very, very fair. What's funny? If I was still working full time, if I was still an employee, I would probably have felt that way. I really probably would have felt that way. But hey, look, man, ain't no pride over here. Look, I need to spend the least amount of money possible at any given time. 100%. Okay. I'm an entrepreneur now, I guess. I hate saying that. I really do hate saying that. Even though I love running my business. But yeah. Gonna share your ultrasounds. I mean, we only got one ultrasound. I'll ask if my wife, if she wants to share. I don't know. What playlist are you gonna use? That's a good question, because we don't need this to stay up online. It'll probably be like a more of a cookout playlist. Like, we'll probably have copyrighted songs on there. We'll be fine during the stream. We'll just have to make sure to take it down and put it up in some other way that we don't care about. Probably go up on YouTube for our family and friends, and I could probably share the link. But gotta ask the wife what she wants. Rose Gold. I went full time in my business since October 12th or 16th. October 16th, I think. It does have a weird stigma. Also, it's weird to me because I don't think that's me. Like this business, I want to run this business, but I don't necessarily think that, like, hey, if this doesn't go well, or if it goes well and I get bought out or something like that, or I sell it or whatever, like, it's not like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get to the next business idea. Like, that's not me. That's simply isn't me at all. I think I'm excited about the things that excite me, and I'm willing to do the things that I need to do to make things like this work. But I'm not like, oh, next business idea. Nah, it ain't me at all. Baby, oh yeah, okay, baby registry link. Yeah, I'll share that with you right now. Let me grab it really quick. If people want the registry link right now, I'll share it. Just want to be very clear. No one owes us anything. No one don't feel obligated. But I will share it. I will definitely share it. If you all want to check it out, I gotta find it right now first. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. It'll be here. All right, got it. Can't wait for the next business idea. Sure. So the rest of my business ideas are going to be ridiculous. So just be excited about them. If I make any real money, like any substantial, like money where I can start to risk crazy ideas, I do have crazy ideas. All right, here it is. If anyone wants it, that is our registry. We don't even know if the stuff is, we got a lot of stuff on there. If you want to contribute, feel free to contribute. If not, no big deal. But yeah, the 28th, I'll share more information about it. I'm pretty excited too. It's gonna be, pretty interesting. It's been pretty interesting. So yeah, come on through, vote, figure out if you think you know what the baby is, and it'll be exciting. But all right, I'm about to get out of here because I need to go spend time with my family, and I need to go eat as usual. So who are we gonna go and say hello to this evening? Prime's on. That's always a good person to go head over to. But let's Prime's in just chatting. No, let's check this out really quick. Who's on? Anyone new we can go say hello to? Thank you everyone for the follows. All the people that I missed, I'm sorry. Deadspot, welcome. What's that? Albaneka, welcome to the channel. B Wolf, welcome. Shizu, Techno Optimist, probably welcome. Evolving. What else did I get? Bad Baby Kosh, Illogicalism, Vincino, welcome to the channel. Call me Stray. It is good to see you. Welcome everybody. Absolutely, I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, who we're gonna go see. Let's go over and say hello to Splashly, doing some web development. You know, I like some web development, even though I'm a bad web developer. Say hello. Let them know that you know, we're an exciting community of people. Let's see, Splash. There we go. Got it. What's up, Malcolm? I'm coming down to see you, brother. Absolutely, Bedrock Michael. I will see you all later. Tomorrow we're back with Decoded. So if you want to learn how to code tomorrow, I think we're doing errors and error handling this week in Decoded. So if you want to know how to, you know, manage errors and exception handling and all that, and try catches and all that other stuff, that's what we'll be doing this week. So yeah. What's up, Ariana? I'm on my way. All right, peace out, y'all. See everybody later. Even though it says 0 people are going with us, I'm just gonna click the button because I think it's not updating, or it'll be 0 people. Either way, see everybody later because I gotta go eat.